Welcome, everyone, to day 3 of the Miserable Cup. I'm your host, Misery. With me, I am joined by Red Dane, my co-caster. How are you doing today, Dane?
Hey, I'm doing great, Mike. Good to be here.
Awesome. Happy to have you here once again. Very, very excited for this group. Today, we are looking at Group C, which will be Jason, NYK, Creature, and Dolan. Now, Dan, I've never watched Creature play at all. He's a Protoss player, and I know you're familiar with a lot of Protosses. What do you think? Have you watched him at all?
I have not seen him at all. I'm gonna be completely honest. I was thinking maybe I'll just make something up. No, I've never seen Creature play, so it would be exciting to see what the North American Protoss style is. If it's anything like Rob's that we saw yesterday, it'll be pretty wonky, pretty Chad, and pretty great. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he approaches the game.
I'm looking forward to it too. We had a couple of awesome groups already. The group yesterday with Rob Vindicta, and drawing a blank here. Rob Vindicta, Epic and McIntyre. Awesome group. We got some really good games from Vindicta and Epic. One of the better TVTs I've seen recently. Rob played really well in all 3 of his matches, so he played awesome, was able to advance with Vindicta. If we take a quick look over at the bracket, just about ready to go into game number 1 between NYK and Jason. We'll take a quick look at the bracket here. We have today Jason and NYK are going to be playing first, and we have Creature and Dolan following after. So lots of action here. No mirror matchups quite yet. We'll see what happens in the winners and losers matches. Probably get another TVT because we have 2 Terrans in this group. And tomorrow's the big one. Tomorrow we have Group D. Nina, Future, Patty Mac, and Caleb Horatius. That's going to be a crazy good group. And looking up at our playoff bracket right now, we have Silky up at the top with Vindicta right below him. The winner of this group is going to go on to face Rob in the bottom half of the bracket. The loser of this group, or the second place person to advance, will play against Vindicta. So we're going to get some really good games going in Championship Sunday, I think.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. I think I'll be there for at least the majority of Championship Sunday as well. So that's something to look forward to, seeing some really high quality games.
All right, I think both players are almost good to go here. Just gonna make everyone spectators / referees.
Make sure you make Necro into a spectator. Yeah, perfect.
That's correct, yes. All right, NYK is ready to go. Just waiting to see if Jason is good. We'll hop into game number 1, guys. I'm so giddy. I'm like a giddy schoolgirl right now. I get to cast one of Jason's games live.
Let's see if he is up to the task of taking down NYK, this very scary Zerg player.
Yeah, I was talking to Spencer, or NYK, this morning, and he made a little joke. He made a little joke saying he got ahead of Jason on the ladder by 5 points before getting started today. So a little bit of banter, a little bit of friendly, little bit of friendly smack talking.
It's a moral victory. It's a very psychological game, and having that little bit of an edge of, you know, I'm actually higher rated than you on the ladder right now. Doesn't hurt.
All right. Haven't seen Jason type up anything yet, unless I'm just totally missing it. No match history is set.
He said he was ready like 3 minutes ago, so hopefully he's still ready.
He did? Okay, so we're gonna jump into the game. If there's a problem, then we'll restart it. How's that?
Sounds good to me, amigo.
Awesome, awesome. TVZ coming up. One of the most exciting matches in this tournament thus far.
Yeah, Jason is one of the players that I know a little bit more about. I catch his streams on a fairly regular basis. I really like his style of Terran. He's just fun to watch. He seems to be just like kind of solid all around. I really enjoy him.
Alrighty. It's time! In the bottom right-hand corner, in the pink trunks, representing Cosmos Esports, it is NYK!
And his opponent in the blue Terran, in the top left-hand corner of Death Aura LE, it is Juggernaut Jason.
Very excited to see how Jason plays this matchup on this map. He mixes in a lot of mech, he mixes in a lot of bio, so I want to see what he prefers to do on this map. I think I saw him play Battle Mech most recently, but you know, there could be some mind games going on both sides here, as Jason and Spencer play each other quite regularly, not only on the ladder, but in practice games as well. So I'm excited to see whether or not they're going to have some mind games or just play their totally standard, most practice builds.
Yeah, I would love to see some Battle Mech on this map. The one thing I haven't really seen a lot is players utilize the acceleration zones in the middle of the map to a very large extent. Obviously, everybody uses those zones as they go through the map just to get their army to one side or the other. But for the most part, I haven't seen anyone really abuse those zones. And I think it would be really cool with maybe a mech composition with cyclones to just be dodging in and out of those, abusing that mobility, because you can just sort of break lock-ons and make lock-ons with those. I think that could, I mean, my theory crafting tells me that that could be an interesting interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the flip side of that, if we look at classic mech, traditionally, like Thors, tanks, Vikings, that kind of mech style, not super popular because of its immobility, and it's so difficult to actually move across the map and pressure Zergs. But on this map, where you have those 3 acceleration zones in the middle of the map, it'd be really cool to see Thors kind of running through there like Goliaths of old, you know, just running through there with the tanks, getting into position very quickly to siege up a 3rd or 4th base. And we'll have to see what Jason wants to do as his Reaper crosses the middle of the map through the acceleration zones, getting that quick scout off.
Oh, that's really cool. So it's these little details that I think are really interesting. For me, whenever I play a map like this, I just send my drone or my adept or whatever it is through, and I just let them use the acceleration zone. But I like how Jason weaved through. He weaved back and forth through those to maximize the speed. It was a really cute little touch from Jason, and I'm definitely going to be stealing that.
Yeah, something to bring to the table on your Terran Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, and on all my other days too, because you can probably do the same thing with adepts.
All right, Reaper gonna harass a little bit and attack the queen or try to get a tumor, but right now, not really doing too much else. Spencer just getting rid of the rocks at his natural base. Got his 3rd hatchery up, so very standard opening so far.
Yeah, Jason didn't really get the opportunity to block that 3rd hatch a whole lot, which obviously isn't the end of the world. He had to pick one sort of direction to put his Reaper in, and he didn't really get too much of a harass, but he is getting some good scouts off here. He does see basically the timing of that 3rd, and he does see how many lings are being made and things like that. So those are the bare minimum that you need, and Jason should be pretty comfortable here to enter into this mid-game.
Yeah, he'll be getting his Hellions out. It's not going to be until we see whether or not these buildings start switching over, the starport and the barracks. If he starts up Stim, a battlecruiser building, the Fusion Core in production. So we're going to have a battlecruiser opening with Hellions and a Reaper.
Yeah, I don't see this opening as often as I would like to. Obviously, it is a strong opening, and it has been for a while. But lately, I've been seeing a lot more like Hellbat and like Banshee and Liberator and things like that. I really love the battlecruiser. It's obviously a very hype unit. Creates so much tension whether or not it's going to get out when it jumps. So really cool to see Jason continuing to use that build.
Yeah, Reaper going to go down in the main. Gets a nice scout off, though. Doesn't see any of the tech. It's just going to be a Baneling nest for now. But notices that there's no Spore Crawlers yet, so it is a little bit early for that. But the battlecruiser is in production, so if Spencer does not get his Overlord in position, he's not going to see the battlecruiser in time. He might be a little bit late with the spores, and with that reduced queen range, the battlecruiser might be able to get a little bit more damage done.
Yeah, I think NYK did spot with an Overlord. We did spot that he had the Fusion Core, so he is going to know about this as far as I can tell. So he probably won't be caught off guard too much by it, but it still has so much potential if he's caught out of position in just the wrong time.
That's right, and an armory and 2 more gases on the way. So it looks like, Jason, you're going to get your wish. You're going to see some battle mech out of him this game.
Yeah, and this is really exciting for me because I really want to see, like, Jason is obviously already weaving his Hellions in and out of the zone, so he's consistently making use of them to maximize the speed of his units. So I have no doubt that once he adds Cyclones to this composition, he's going to be abusing the mobility of the middle of the map there to some good effect.
Look at that. Look how fast those Hellions kill creep tumors. And here they are. He's going to switch them into Hellbats, move forward on the Queens while he blinks the battlecruiser into the main base. The battlecruiser going to do some damage to the drones. On the other side of the map, Zerglings attacking the wall, trying to get in for a counterattack. And look at this. There's no Queens to transfuse that Spore. Spore doesn't beat a battlecruiser, and these Hellbats are going to chase down these Queens.
And with the repair on these supply depots, it looks like Jason is just about holding off all these Lings. These Lings desperately trying to get in. Jason needs to pull those Marines over, but so much damage has been done in the Zerg's main right now. I don't think Jason minds.
Yeah, you know what? He just barely kept that supply depot alive, and this battlecruiser's just been going to town. He gets, he stops the counterattack. The battlecruiser has, how many kills? 11 kills already, including a Spore. This is devastating damage.
Yeah, and Jason getting that wall up and holding it completely really shut down NYK's aggression there. It was a pretty large commitment of Zerglings, and NYK never actually pulled them back, so he lost all those Zerglings for free. So this Roach attack that's coming out onto Jason's third base isn't going to have Ling support that he could have if he had saved those Lings, so this is going to make it a little bit easier for Jason to hold, but he doesn't really have a lot to deal with these Roaches at the moment.
No, that is a lot of Roaches. He does blink the battlecruiser back home, so that will help with the defense. But how many workers can these Roaches kill? They're going to have to do some work. They're going to get a couple of SCVs that are at the base. He's not going to be able to finish that refinery. and forces a cancel on that. And he'll do a little bit of damage to the CC, but if he's not careful, he's going to lose all of these roaches and not get a ton of work done with them.
Yeah, this is, again, a little bit of an overcommitment from NYK. He keeps trying to go for the aggression here, but once Jason is holding convincingly, like he is right here, he continues to let the roaches and lings just die, and he can't afford to throw these roaches away right now. He doesn't have that better economy. He's only on, well, he's just made a bunch of drones, gone up to 62, but Jason's taken the third base. He's on 56, and he's got the mules. So Jason definitely in a better economic position right now, and he's got a better army because he hasn't been throwing away his units.
That's right. He's got a 22 kill commander battle cruiser, and now this is where Terran becomes very scary with battle mech. When you open up battle cruisers and you keep that first one alive and you add more to it, the damage just comes out exponentially. So now 2 battle cruisers coming across the map. They're going to have Yamato cannon. They're probably going to pick off at least 2 queens, maybe a few more units, and then just warp back. And a nice little run by NYK. He's going to kill a few SCVs here.
Yeah, and Jason's going to want to repair that command center because it's actually quite low at this point. It's below 25% health. So if there was a big commitment from NYK, which we've seen that there has been in the past, again, right here, he's got to repair this he's got to repair this command center. Looks like it's not going to be too big of a problem for him. He does catch it in time, but it's still looking pretty dangerous.
That's right, and look at this, some nice targeting on these queens. Gets the highest energy queen. That's a pretty big deal. He hasn't got Yamato cannon quite yet. 6 seconds away. He is going to be able to run away, kiting with that reduced queen range, and now Yamato cannon is done. He's going to pick off 2 queens and warp away.
Yeah, beautiful control there from Jason. Just rearranging those battle cruisers ever so slightly to make sure that the one that was low was a little bit further back to make sure it didn't die to those queens. But Jason's gonna leave these battle cruisers here. They're still continuing to shell this base. The low health battle cruiser is being pulled away, but there's a big roach counterattack at Jason's third. They do catch a Thor out in the middle of the open. They will get that kill, but with the battle cruiser coming back, he should be able to hold this without too many problems.
Yeah, losing the Thor is kind of a big deal. That's a big gas investment right there from the Terran, but he's getting his 4th base up. He hasn't lost too much. The battle cruiser is doing a ton of damage on the other side of the map. So I think everything right now is favoring Jason. He's going to be able to once again repair these battle cruisers, and now some Corruptors coming across the map. Those might be able to pick off a battle cruiser before they get fully repaired.
But with that repair from Jason, it's still going to be a question of how hard is NYK going to commit into this, especially with the Cyclone joining the battle. So many SCVs repairing this battle cruiser. The commitment is very aggressive from NYK, but it looks like he is going to pull back. He's going to lose a few Corruptors for basically nothing. Really immaculate play there from Jason, making sure to keep those battle cruisers alive, being ever so precious.
Yeah, Jason able to take some good trades there and, you know, pick off a few Corruptors, not lose the battle cruisers. That's key right there. He keeps them alive. The Cyclones are going to help keep them alive against the Corruptors. That's a pretty big deal. And now Jason's setting up a 4th base, and while the income is in favor of NYK for now, he doesn't really have a lot of tech, and as I say that, he starts his hive up. So I think Jason has the lead right now, but NYK not too far behind.
Yeah, and one of these, I don't know if you noticed, Mike, but he's got 31 kills on one of those battle cruisers, 12 on the other ones. These battle cruisers have been the real heroes of this game. It's so exciting to see Jason not only use this build, but completely abuse the power of those battle cruisers. They've been killing drones, they've been killing spores, and they were able to completely defend that roach attack. So really, really beautiful play from Jason.
Commander battle cruiser has arrived, and a couple of tanks getting stuck in his base. Not a lot of building surface area. There's so many factories, and he can't get all of his units out of his base. It's kind of funny to see, but
now Jason is weaving those Cyclones and Hellions through the middle of the map. Does save those battle cruisers from being killed by the Corruptors, but now there's a big surround here from the Zerg units. It looks like Jason's gonna have to retreat here. Gets a few lock-ons, and he's retreating to the safety of these acceleration zones, but I think it's not gonna matter because the Zerg units are gonna get them anyway.
Yeah, that's a very big win or pickoff for NYK. He's able to pick off a bunch of the battle mech, and right now he doesn't have the upgrades for them. So yeah, he gets the lock-on, kills a couple of roaches, but not as quickly as he would like, as the lock-on ability with the stronger rockets, I can't remember what it's called, Magfield Accelerator. With that upgrade, the Cyclones just do so much better, and until that happens, I think NYK is going to take some better trades with his ground-based army.
Yeah, Jason has been delaying these upgrades for quite a while. I think because he wanted to get those battle cruisers out. So only now is he getting the blue flame, the +1 attack, and the magfield accelerator. So he's getting all the upgrades now. They're all finishing at basically the same time because he's got eight factories producing units at the same time with tech labs and things. So Jason should be absolutely fine now, especially now that he has that blue flame. He's going to be able to trade a lot better against those Zerglings. So I think it's time now for Jason to start putting some pressure onto that base. He wants to start getting those trades going.
Absolutely, and he's about to have some beefy mech units. I just noticed he's got +3 mech armor on the way, so that's going to make his units very strong. As I say that, though, Baneling's getting huge connections on this battle mech army, not trading well at all. And NYK getting a ton of Cyclones and Hellions on that ramp, almost not for free, but doing very well.
I can understand why Jason wanted to go in there because it was all of his upgrades are finishing, so it hypothetically should have been a strong timing for him. But I think because he lost so much battle mech earlier, the Zerg army was just so overwhelmingly large. He got that flank as well, so NYK is looking to be in a very good position now that he's stabilized and he's killed a lot of this army.
Yeah, but Jason keeping up his production. If we look at the supplies, very even in army, very even in workers. It's just constant trading. And when you have battle mech wanting to trade so freely, you can tell the Terran has an awesome economy, just being able to throw away that many expensive units and just reproduce them so quickly.
Yeah, and Jason hasn't actually sent his entire army out just yet. He's just been sending out these small hit squads of Cyclones and Hellions, but now he's regrouped with the rest of his army. He's sieging up tanks. He's got Widowmines, he's got Ravens, he's got the battle cruisers, he's got a proper Terran push coming out here, and Cyclones are only the tip of the spear. So now he's going to be threatening the Zerg on the other side of the map, but he's not actually moving out yet. He's just trying to stabilize on all his 6 bases. So these Banelings are going to do a ton of damage at his 3rd base.
Oh, he gets the lift up, saves the CC, so the Banelings are going to just crash into a lot of supply depots. They're going to get maybe a tank for what a that is, you know what, that tank is a hero in his own right. That tank just absorbed about 20 Banelings.
Yeah, I think if you have to write home what your husband did as the tank driver and you have to figure out how he died and you found out that he killed 20 Banelings, I think you're not going to be too upset with it, right? In the widow's letter there, just gonna, at least he died a hero.
He gets the purple heart for sure. And NYK now morphing in some broodlords. This can be very scary. There's not a ton of broodlord defense. Some Vikings are in production. Cyclones do not do very well, even though the damage is very good for Cyclones against broodlords. The problem is all the broodlings forcing the Cyclones to have poor pathing to target the broodlords. So it's gonna be very difficult for Jason to hold against these broodlords right now until he gets some Vikings and Thors out. And as I say that, the ground army crashing in on some of the battle mech here.
Yeah, and now NYK's units are between Jason and his bases, so Jason is going to commit with a lot of this battle mech into the 3rd base of NYK, but he's lost a lot of his reinforcements, and now his path for reinforcements has been cut off by this Zerg force. So now Jason is completely deep in enemy territory with all of these battle cruisers. He is managing to hold his position, but he's lost a base back at home.
Yeah, NYK able to get a lot of damage done with the corruptors using that caustic spray on a base, but taking a lot of damage at home. This is a kind of a scary push here, but if he's able to retreat with the broodlords and the corruptors, he can probably clean most of this up, but he's gonna lose at least 1 base, right?
Yeah, Jason is looking to do as much as he can in a bad situation here. He is kiting a lot of these roaches and ravagers, but as soon as he gets the lock on this base, this is definitely going to go down. Jason's got the hard lock on, and this base does go down. This is going to keep Jason's economy relatively equal to the Zerg, at least for now.
Yeah, and a lot of broodlords in production right now, and still having corruptors to keep them safe for now. He's only got a few, but what's going to be rough here is losing these hatcheries. It's going to really affect his income for now. Even though he has the lead, once Jason gets a lot of Thors and Vikings out, there's no infestors out for the mind control, and there's no Vipers out to get rid of the Vikings. And now I think the Vikings outnumbered the corruptors.
Yeah, I love this movement from Jason. He's just completely maneuvering and deking around the Zerg army to get 2 hatcheries while his army is completely overcommitted on his side of the map. It's just a blunder from NYK.
Yeah, he did save one of the hatcheries, so NYK not in the worst of positions. He's got a very scary air army here, and as long as he can keep it safe against the Vikings and not lose too many broodlords, I think he's in a pretty good position here.
This small little attack of Zerglings as Jason is trying to retake this base is going to be really, really annoying for him. He is kiting really well with these Vikings. There's only one Corruptor left, and it does go down. So now these Vikings have free reign over these Broodlords. One of them does go down already. This is really great for Jason. If he can get a few more of these Broodlords, he's going to be in a fantastic position.
This is so good for Jason. This is so much gas for free. There's no more Corruptors. He tried, NYK tried to get some good Corrosive Vials with the Ravagers, but missed on all of them. And the Vikings just commit to killing every Broodlord. NYK in between a rock and a hard place. He's going to lose every Broodlord. He's going to try and make something happen with the Ravagers, but I think this is actually it. He lost every Broodlord.
Yeah, definitely an overcommitment from NYK. They're producing almost all of his Corruptors at one point. He turned them into Broodlords, maybe in a bit of desperation to try and solidify his power on the ground. But this meant that those Vikings that came out of nowhere completely wiped out those Broodlords. Really nice counterplay there from Jason.
And now the large mech army moving across the map. Cyclones are going to lock onto this base and get rid of it, while Papa Thors tank Banelings, attack Roaches and Ravagers. I think this is it. The writing's on the wall for NYK.
Yeah, Jason's got an overwhelming power of mech here, even controlling a little bit better than he probably needed to, pulling the weaker units back and allowing the Thors to tank those Banelings, getting such great trades, nearly double the army supply for Jason now, and this third base goes down for NYK, and he looks to be in dire straits.
Yeah, he's trying to make something happen with these Corruptors, but at home he is losing so much. Loses a base, loses a lot of drones, and just reduced to Roach Ravager against big +3 Thors. They almost have +3 attack now too. 3/3 Thors do pretty okay against 2/2 Roaches.
Yeah, and even landing the Vikings now, realizing there's nothing else in the air for NYK at this stage, getting the Vikings to help as much as possible. A few Biles do go down and connect, but it's not going to be enough. GG. Game 1 goes to Jason.
Game 1. So much hype. What an awesome mech game. And a very good game from NYK too.
Yeah, NYK wasn't in a great position, honestly, after those battle cruisers did that much harass. All of his aggression in the early game was basically coming up against a brick wall. He still managed to make a game out of it, but really, the game-breaking decision there, I think, was morphing everything into Broodlords. Didn't have enough to protect it, unfortunately, because he's got that Roach Ravager army. He doesn't have any Hydralisks to protect the Broodlords, and that was really what sealed his fate.
I think you're right. If he keeps maybe half of those Corruptors, I think he wins the fight against the Vikings, and then that just makes the game so much more difficult for Jason, as he can push across with 5 to 8 Broodlords instead of trying to push with 12 Broodlords or 15 Broodlords. But you're absolutely right. He just left them all undefended, and once 10 Vikings are sitting on Broodlords, it's not a good time for the Broodlords or the Zerg army.
Those are the kinds of decisions that are really hard to put your finger on, though, when you're in the moment, thinking, okay, I killed most of his Thors. He's only on basically Cyclones and tanks, so I should be able to hypothetically turn all these. I don't see any Vikings right now, so why don't I just turn all of these into Broodlords? I need to spend my money. There's a lot of pressure in different ways as a Zerg player, and it really is a kind of safety thing to try and have as many Broodlords as possible, but you really have to be thinking to that next step, right? If he's got to be transitioning to Vikings at some point, and that really is what Jason was able to pull out. I think he pulled those Vikings back. He didn't show them too early, and then he surprised them, and it really paid off.
Yeah, I see that in games like at my level with the Vikings getting on top of Broodlords like that at these higher levels. You don't see that as much. Players are usually a lot, more careful with their Broodlords, but yeah, NYK thought he smelt blood in the water, thought he could just morph all into Broodlords and go for it, and a little bit of punishment for it.
Yeah, and if things were slightly different, that might have been the correct decision, but unfortunately for him, Jason got the upper hand in this one.
That's right. All right, we're getting ready for game number 2. Both players are ready. We're loading into Submarine LE, a much smaller map, and we'll see what both players would like to do.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how Jason handles this one. I suspect that we probably won't see Battle Mech again on this map, but you never know. I mean, if it worked in game 1, its potential is obviously there.
All right. Think we are ready to go. In the top left-hand corner, he is down 0-1. It is our pink Zerg from Cosmos Esports, NYK.
And in the bottom right-hand corner, he's up 1-0 in this series. He is the People's Champion, the Terran player in blue. Give it up for Jason.
With the no bully tag. I love
he
that
is
tag.
not standing for any bullying in this game, especially not cyberbullying, Mike. There's nothing that bothers me more than cyberbullying.
You say that, and then I look at the replay of all those Broodlords dying to Vikings. And
Was that cyberbullying? Was that cyberbullying? I think that counts.
I think that counts as cyberbullying.
Jason maybe not living up to his own ideals in this game.
Yeah, you know, it's like he's that kid that has a hold of the other kid's hand. He's like, stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself. That's what it felt like with those Broodlords and Vikings.
That's gotta feel bad, right? To lose in the way that also you have in common with also like Bronze League players. And again, it's totally understandable, but to just not, you know, it'd be great, you know, we were talking about annoying things to say to players after the game to make them annoyed, right? If we interviewed NYK, we could have said to him, hey, NYK, you know that if you had units that shoot up, you probably wouldn't have lost all those Vikings. What do you think about that?
Something to think about for the next tournament for sure. Hey, NYK, you know, you had all these Broodlords, looked to get a really good army. It was really scary. But then all of a sudden, the Broodlords died. What happened? Can you walk me through your thought process on that one?
Yeah, maybe. Hey, streamer, would it have been good to have Storm for that push? You know, that's in that same category. Miserable to bully edition. Yeah, we're gonna become the cyber bullies for the next tournament. Gonna harass NYK about why he lost.
Yeah.
But let's see if he can turn it around in this game. Maybe he can cyber bully Jason a little bit.
Yeah, come back here with a little bit of gusto. He's got to be a little careful with that Reaper almost getting a kill on the Zerglings. The Queen's not quite out yet. They're going to keep poking away. And here you go. Queen is out. Throws down. Oh, no, it doesn't throw down Reject. Starts attacking right away.
This is just fresh and exciting gameplay here, Mike. I love this interaction between the Reaper and the Zerglings. You don't know if he's going to get a Zergling. Maybe he'll get two. Maybe he'll get a drone. You never know. Really, really great play from Jason to keep that pressure on the front.
And he gets the first creep tumor. If there is something that triggers every Zerg, it's when the Reaper kills that first creep tumor.
We talked about moral victories. Losing that first creep tumor, it's just like, dude, you kind of get that feeling that you're going nowhere in life. It's like, you know, when you're like 30 years old and you're still living in your mother's basement, you just haven't quite gotten over high school yet. You're trying to make the most of it. Losing that creep tumor kind of feels like moving back in with your parents. Yeah,
and if losing, what would losing the second creep tumor be? Would it be hosting a StarCraft tournament for $1,000 from?
It would be like,
what's the equivalent?
You moved out of your parents' basement, you got a real job, you started going out on your own, you started building up the courage to get out in public again, to start dating again, and then you start a financial venture with your friend, you start your own business, you feeling really confident, you feel like you've come out of your shell, and then all of a sudden it completely fails and you have to move back in with your parents yet again.
Poor NYK. All right, he loses another creep tumor. That is very unfortunate. It's going to really hinder his vision in this game. And we have Stim on the way with a Liberator. So it looks like it's going to be a 6 to 8 Hellion push with a Liberator that'll try to put some harassment on. And NYK already maybe showing a little bit of nerves, losing 3 creep tumors this early. He's going to lose this Overlord without getting a decent scout in. And now with these units crossing the map, we'll see what happens here. How much damage can get done.
Jason seems to have a great read on exactly how NYK plays this matchup. You know, he's been killing creep tumors, he's been killing overlords. Getting this much damage this early is obviously not only annoying, but at some point it starts to be really devastating. And if Jason's able to keep this pressure up and continue getting these little advantages, this is going to be a house of cards crumbling for NYK.
Yeah, he is getting very good response times out of his Queens and Spore Crawlers with this Liberator, but the Hellions are now going to pick off a Queen. That's a pretty nice pick off, but a nice surround with the Zerglings, getting all of the Hellions here, not killing any drones, just really getting a Queen.
Oh, that is going to feel so good for NYK to finally get a moral victory, to finally do something to put himself in this game, not just to survive, but to actually kill something of Jason's. Now he's got that map control. He can take another base, he can drone up, and he can start scouting Jason, what he's going to do. And hopefully NYK can start doing something on Jason's side of the map.
Yeah, you'd love to see him put a little bit of pressure on Jason's side of the map after defending that push very well. You know, usually you want to see a lot of, either a lot of drone kills or a lot of queen kills with this Liberator and Hellion push, or a lot of creep denial. But with how small this map is, sure, he killed a couple of tumors early, but now NYK pushing the creep out, getting better vision, and cleaning up that attack without really taking too many losses.
Yeah, I think you're right that cleaning up the creep on this map is kind of a Sisyphean effort. You're just, it's kind of like rolling up that boulder up the hill. It's just going to keep falling back down every single day. Eventually, this whole map is going to get covered in creep. There's nothing you can really do about it. It's too small of a map, and NYK's built lots of queens. He's already relentlessly getting that creep out. The best Jason can hope for is to have one attack path that he's going to be able to use, and hopefully in the late game, it's not going to be as much creep for him to clear. All these things add up in the pushes that Jason will be putting out.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go for what'll probably be a big 2-2 timing with Bio and Tank, and that can be very strong on this map. When you look at the fourth base location that Spencer has chosen, it's kind of far away from everything, and it allows Jason to push in one direction and not have too many areas for a flank. He doesn't finish clearing up the rocks, and he's actually going to push out with 1-1 and 2 tanks, so he's going to put the pressure on a little bit earlier.
Oh, he already gets all these active creep tumors. Frantically, NYK is trying to morph these Banelings, but Jason knows that this is a great time for him to engage. So many Zerglings going down. The Banelings are about to finish, but Jason's sniping them off right before they finish. There's not even a single Baneling going to engage in this, and now Jason's going to be able to push into this third base.
Spencer is on the back foot. NYK is going to have to make something happen here, but he doesn't have Baneling speed, he doesn't have 1-1, and Jason's hitting a very crisp timing with his 1-1 and having great tank positions. There is going to be a Zergling flank on the siege tanks, which will hopefully buy some time to get rid of the Marines, but this is not going to be cleaned up very easily.
Yeah, Jason does target fire that one Baneling in the end, so he does manage to not lose all of his Marines, but he does lose both of the tanks, and losing the rest of these Marines is going to mean that he's going to have to retreat these medevacs and wait for another push.
Yeah, I think the damage was done, though. Getting a lot of those Banelings while they were morphing and forcing a lot more units out of NYK. I think the losses favor Jason in that one.
Yeah, it was definitely a successful push, and just because a push doesn't win the game for you obviously doesn't mean it was an unsuccessful push, and Jason did manage to save both of his medevacs. He traded mostly Marines for a lot of Banelings, and he, like you said, he forced so many units, so this is actually looking pretty good for Jason, even on workers, but that's going to favor the Terran in this situation, obviously because of those mules. Jason needs to be taking his fourth base pretty soon, but his next push is going to be very scary once 2-2 kicks in.
Yeah, and it's going to be Hydras from NYK. That's interesting. I don't see Hydraling Bane very often. Usually you see a lot of mutas these days, and that might be because of a result of how the Widow Mines are now, that they're permanently cloaked, and Hydra's obviously trading a little bit better against Widow Mines with that higher range. So we'll like to see how he gets the flank here. Maybe sets up a good attack to get rid of these Marines that are being pesky and clearing up creep.
Yeah, a lot of these Marines do go down to those Banelings, so obviously not the best, but Jason wants to lure them into this Widow Mine. Looks like does get a pretty nice hit off there, and with that armory up, it's gonna mean that he's gonna need an Overseer in order to kill this Widow Mine. These Widow Mines, I think, are gonna start to be really annoying for NYK.
Absolutely, but a couple of Overseers coming by. That Widow Mine will not get to detonate again. I wanted it to so bad with so many Banelings being morphed right next to it, but yeah, able to pick that off, and now Jason trying to creep forward with Widow Mines again.
Yeah, and he's adding a few Marauders into this composition, which is going to make it easier for him to trade against this primarily Baneling force. It's not even really a Zergling Hydra Bane style. It's actually just basically Banelings and a few Hydras. So the Marauders obviously going to be really, really nice.
Yeah, and a nice little attempt at a counterattack, but then when he tries to retreat through the middle, a huge Widow Mine hit, losing a ton of Zerglings here. This is very tough. NYK now on the back foot. Once again, Jason pushing forward with a lot of bio, trying to assert himself, trying to end this game, and here come the Banelings. They're going to roll in, connect on some of the bio, and trying to get on those Marines, but I think this is it. Jason has broken through.
With such nice splits there from Jason, he does manage to basically take good trades against those Banelings, and he has so much left over. GG, game 2 again, so now Jason is going to win.
right, Jason, the first to advance to the winner's match. He will face either Dolan or Creature. Very clean series from Jason in those matches.
Yeah, I think Jason's showing us there that his ladder rank isn't really the biggest thing in the world. He might be 5 points lower than NYK, but he was looking like 500 points higher.
Yeah, he looked very strong in that match. So we'll have to see how NYK looks in the losers match, see if he can redeem himself a little bit and try to come back. And you never know, he may have to play a different Terran or Protoss next. So looks like we're going to try and get Creature and Dolan next, a TVP. I'm excited.
Yeah, TVP. Yeah, this is going to be a great matchup. In particular, this is one that I struggle with quite a lot. I'm watching these very intently to try and learn as much as I can from these top Protosses, especially with the style. I don't know, for some reason the North American style of Protoss just seems to gel with me a little bit more. It seems like it's a little bit more down to earth. It's some of the stuff that the top Koreans do is just so far out of my wheelhouse. I'm excited to see how our North American Protosses handle it.
Yeah, it was really cool to watch Rob play yesterday, and even who was in our first group that was pros, Disc. Disc looked really good against Zerg, and he's able to advance, so it'll be cool. I think we're going to see either a Zerg or a Terran playing against Rob and Disc in the next round, so going to be able to learn a lot about that matchup.
Yeah, that'll be a nice one to watch. Let me just have a look at the bracket here.
Just updating it right now while the players do their bans and figure out what maps we'll be playing.
Wondering if I have heard of Creature and he's just one of those players that's changed his name at some point. Maybe not, but he sounds vaguely familiar. I'm really interested to see his play style. Do you know much about how he plays?
No, and you know what? I think there's a Korean Creature as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember when I was looking at the players when I was trying to figure out how to do the bracket and how to do the groups, and while I was looking on Liquipedia, I'm pretty sure there's a Korean player named Creature as well, and I was confusing them a lot. I haven't watched either one of them play that much, but I hear Creature's around the top of the NA ladder right now. So it'll be really cool to see how him and Dolan play, as Dolan's also around the 6K mark as well.
Yeah, and you were saying that Dolan was kind of giving you some pointers on how to play TVP. Is there anything, do you think we're going to see a very unique style in this series?
I think so, because his TVP was very, very high last season. I think he had about an 80% TVP win rate last season, which is ridiculously good.
So can you kind of talk us through, like, what is Dolan's approach to TVP right now?
I don't know. I can't speak for this season. Last season, one of the big things is walling off the main base very early. So I know he was doing that to kind of deny any sort of vision from the Protoss and kind of keep them on the back foot and kind of unsure of themselves what they want to do as far as their build. You know, you have to be worried about a proxy. You have to be worried about, potential one base play. But, then he would just keep a CC on the high ground and then expand just a little bit later and keep it out of range of the ramp so that, the Protoss just has no idea what you're teching to or what you're doing. So it'll be cool to see what he's going to do in this first game.
So I guess the only way that could backfire is if you're a bad Protoss like me, you just continue on with your regular macro build and completely ignore whatever information you get from the Terran, and then you're just kind of a little bit behind if he's trying to play macro.
That could definitely be it, yeah, if he just sticks to his plan regardless of what the Terran is doing. All right, here we go. Game number 1 in the bottom left-hand corner of Eternal Empire. It is Dolan from ARG NA. I love the name of that clan tag. I think it's Archangel Gaming, yeah. But just the tag ARG NA.
And his opponent is going to be in the top right-hand corner of Eternal Empire, playing for Team Sloth. He is Creature. Sloth Esports Club, I believe they had Raze on their team, did they not? I don't know if Raze, I haven't really kept up with them, to be honest, but Raze is an old friend of mine. I used to practice with Raze back in the day. I know he's a pretty high up North American Terran as well.
All right. Well, Dolan already not doing what I was mentioning, which is the early wall off. So maybe trying a different opening now with the new season. I know talking to some other players that speak with him that he thinks that the matchup has changed quite a bit with the new maps and the different changes to Terran and Protoss units. So we'll see what his approach is in this game. So far, it's gas after barracks. So we'll probably see a Reaper expansion with second gas in a factory. But you never know, we might see a 3 racks or even a 4 or 5 racks. I've seen that a couple of times. There was the Fluffy Boom Cup a few weeks ago where I saw, I believe it was like a 5,500 Terran playing. I can't remember against the Protoss he was playing. It was a pretty high level Protoss versus Terran matchup, and he went 5 racks on one base. It was so cool to see, and it was in response to that new Blink build that Parting was doing.
Yeah, that's I've seen a lot of that on Gamer Richie's stream. He's the classic stim to win. So he opens with the 3 racks, adds a couple more, and then goes for just a 5 racks all in.
Yeah.
Man, I've seen him take some games off of some pretty good players with that. It's just one of those things. Yeah, a lot of Protosses every Protoss will lose to that at least once, and it's always the first. So we'll see if Creature's ready for the shenanigans that Dolan seems to be ready to dole out.
That's right. He's actually playing it very safe right now, though. Reaper expand, bunker outside of his natural, so we might just be seeing a regular Widowmine drop opening.
Yeah, this looks like a very standard build here. He's even getting the Marine, he's getting the bunker. So yeah, like you said, playing very safe. Gonna pop in with this Reaper, see if he can get a little bit of damage done. Does get probed down to 1 hit point, but this wall off from Creature is gonna mean that this Reaper is not gonna be able to escape here.
Yeah, he's not even gonna be able to pick off that probe. It kind of looked like he hesitated there, like he almost took the shot to kill that probe and tried to get away, but the Cyber Core blocking his path and not allowing him to get away. Doesn't even see the Twilight Council go down. So now Dolan playing a little bit blind, and we'll have to see if that hinders him and changes his build up a little bit. Maybe he plays a little bit safer or delays his drop.
Yeah, and losing that Reaper is really devastating. Not only did he not see the Twilight Council, but this is going to free up Creature's units to move across the map. It looked like he was going to put some pressure on with the Stalker as well, but he second guesses it and sends it home in the end. So now he's just going to pop in with this Reaper, or with this Adept, I should say, and see if he can scout what Dolan's doing.
That's right, and he's going to be able to at least see up the ramp, and he'll see a couple buildings, and it's probably going to be no surprise to Creature. But we won't see any damage done with this Adept, and we see a roll on the way.
He's not going to be able to see the build that Dolan's on either, because Dolan's hit his tech pretty well there. So he does pop up the ramp with that Adept, but he doesn't really know what Dolan's doing at this stage. It looks like it's just going to be a 3 racks for Dolan.
Yeah,
3 racks push with the 1-1-1.
Yeah, so he's also got the Raven coming out. So this is, I think we saw this against Rob yesterday with Epic was doing it, and we saw Rob kind of take apart Epic with the blink control, with the Robo, or with the Warp Prism, I should say, and it's very hard to maneuver with Terran before having Stim up and before having +1, and if he doesn't have tanks, this could be really scary. The Stalkers are able to pick off a Raven, able to pick off units here and there, and suddenly it snowballs. Eventually you have 15 to 20 Stalkers against this little group of bio with no tank support.
Yeah, and there's not even a Widowmine here from Dolan to keep that Protoss base a little bit scared, to keep him back in his base. So Dolan's going for a very forward-thinking push. When his push does come out, once Stim is finished, it's going to be very scary, but he's going to have to survive this onslaught of Protoss Blink Stalkers in the first place.
Yeah, I'm worried for Dolan, I gotta say, with this build. But you know what? His bunker is far enough back that it's going to take a heavy commitment from the Stalkers. As a fake Phoenix flies by, sees the Raven, doesn't really scout that much.
Yeah, obviously Dolan here is just looking to find this observer that he knows Creature is going to have somewhere. It's going to be on this Pervert pillar, so it's going to make it a little bit safer there, but if Dolan catches it, it's going to be a lot harder for Creature to be blinking into his base. So if Dolan only has one angle of attack to worry about, it's going to be a lot easier for him to harass with these Blink Stalkers.
Yeah, picking up observers is a really big deal with that, although you can still make something happen with a Warp Prism, but it doesn't look like Creature wants to really do anything with that kind of pressure. He's moving across with some Stalkers, but no Warp Prisms, so maybe just kind of try and pick off what he can with those Blink Stalkers. Maybe delay a push by just blinking back and picking off units or damaging units, but Dolan's going to hit a pretty crisp timing with Stim, Combat Shields +1, some Medivacs.
Yeah, this is looking to be pretty nice control from creatures so far. He's picking up a few units without losing too many stalkers. Does end up blinking away in the end. Dolan not forcing out a stim though, so he's going to be able to keep his Marines and Marauders at relatively high hit points. And once that +1 in combat shield kicks in, this is actually going to be a very strong push.
Yeah, this is very good control from Creature, though. He's able to pick off a bunch of Marines. It weakens this push. If he can keep picking off little bits of bio, by time all these units get across the map, charge is done. +1 armor will be almost done. He's gonna have he's actually even got cannons going up right now, just in case, to be safe. But he's already got 2 immortals. He's got sentries. He can stymie off some of these units, or he can force some of these units away from the fight with the force fields, and it's already getting smaller and smaller with the pickoffs.
Yeah, he's got an uphill battle because he's got to whittle down this army, but he's been doing a great job of it so far. These Widow Mines are going to be really helpful against these charge lots, but the armor upgrade is not finished yet. The Blink Stalkers come back, and they do manage to pick off one of the Marauders, blinking away to avoid that Widow Mine hit, and now Creatures committing onto this fight. There's a lot of Marine Marauder here. The Stalker's getting some really nice hits in. The Widow Mines are trying to burrow underneath this. It's really hard to tell. Both of the Immortals do get disabled here. The Bio is pushing on top of them. If they get these Immortals, this could be very dangerous. But with the Warping of Zealots, I think he's going to be able to stabilize.
Those are fantastic disables. And look at that. Widow Mine's taking out the Observers, but it looks like Creature is going to clean everything up. It's going to force this bio back. He's going to have to pick up and boost away. And the rally, that is the end of this push. And looks like Dolan is going to be a little bit behind as Creature keeps his third base economy going, while Dolan is just about finishing up his CC on location in his third base. But I think Creature comes ahead in that engagement.
Yeah, I think Dolan was hoping to get a little bit more economic damage done there. Yes, he did trade, but if you're trading against someone and the trade is relatively even, obviously the advantage is going to go to the player who's been more greedy because he's got that economy. Creature can afford to trade with this, and yes, he did lose an Immortal. Yes, he did lose. He doesn't have any sentries with this, but he's got 3 bases worth of economy now, so he's getting that gas going, and he's even got the Storm on the way. So once that Storm finishes, yeah, Ghost Academy is very far away.
Yeah, the Ghost Academy is on the way right now, about halfway done, but really the Ghosts aren't that great until they get that enhanced Shockwaves, which is going to be far behind Storm. Storm finishing up soon, +2 armor on the way. A Warp Prism is done, so we'll see if Creature wants to play a little more aggressive as his 4th base is finishing. He's got so much vision on the map with these pylons going around. He's got them already across the top side of the map, so very unlikely that Dolan's going to catch Creature off guard with a potential drop. But it looks like Dolan's moving across again through the middle of the map. Going to try and hit a timing maybe before Storm finishes, or just try to take some map vision back.
Yeah, but Storm's now finished up, and now Creature's going to be hitting a very good power spike here. Looks like he's just going to be staying on his side of the map, looking to be defensive there. Does put a few High Templar in that Warp Prism to make sure that he's safe against potential EMPs. But already the Ghosts are coming out. He's already making 2 or 3 at a time. So once those Ghosts close the distance on that, that's all the sources of AoE that Creature has right now. And with better upgrades for Dolan, I think he has a good chance to actually do some damage if the fight does come to it.
Yeah, we have 1-1 from Dolan, but he's getting caught out in the middle of the map. Widow Mine's burrowing, but they're going to get killed very quickly. 1 EMP goes off, and Widow Mine's weakening up all of the Zealots, but nice storms coming from these High Templar that were in the Prism. SCVs are off the line as Dolan wanted to push out with the SCVs and just getting stormed into oblivion here. He's going to get caught in this corner. He's going to save what he can, boost back to his main, but I think the damage was done. There's a huge engagement for Creature, and now he's charging forward with Archons, with Charged Zealots. He has +2 armor almost done.
Yeah, I think Dolan was hoping to have maybe a little bit more time out to move out onto the map. He wasn't quite ready for that fight, and it looks like Creature pounced right on top of him and cleaned him right up. Really nice game from Creature.
Very well played from Creature. Great standard macro Protoss. Getting some great storms in the mid to late game there. It was pretty cool to see. Sad for my boy Dolan, though.
And you know what? It's refreshing to see a game where we don't see a ton of blink aggression in that early game. We don't see him blinking into the main. We don't see him killing tanks. We don't see him really overcommitting to that. He just wins by just picking off units, using those stalkers for map control while macroing back at home and getting a really faster third base and getting those upgrades. So nice, slow, and simple play from Creature, but executed very cleanly.
Yeah, on Eternal Empire will be the next map. That came out really poorly. That's gonna be our next map, Eternal Empire or Everdream. And Yeah, I want to see Dolan maybe try something a little bit more aggressive this game. Try and put some more pressure on Creature. Creature kind of batted him away at every turn.
Yeah, he looked to be almost doing things a little bit old school there. So I hope he has something new and refreshing for us here.
All right, in the top right-hand corner of Everdream LE from Arg NA, he's down 0-1 in this best of 3. It is Dolan.
And his opponent, he's up 1-0 in this series, showing us some nice, clean Protoss play. Playing for Sloth Esports, he is Creature.
Sloth Esports Club. Do you know anyone else from Sloth Esports?
Yeah, I mean, the only one I knew of, I don't know if he's still there or not, was my friend Raze.
Okay.
He's a young Terran player, but I haven't heard of too many other people from Sloth.
Interesting. That's right. You did mention Raze earlier. Oh, I know this build. This is it. Hey Dan, remember that build I showed you, that 5-minute tank push?
Oh dear.
This is it. This is the build .txt. All right. He walls off early. The probe is not going to get any. It's double gas, and now he'll finish the wall off, expand on the high ground, and set up a factory. I'm very excited to see him control this.
See, this is where I have a little bit of a complaint, though, because he didn't do this wall off in the first game with his expansion. So Creature, I think, is going to get a read on this, that it's going to be some kind of shenanigans. But like you said, it is a very strong and scary build. And we'll have to see if Creature has a complete clear read on exactly what it's going to be. It's so difficult to scout. If the Terran does this, you don't really get that observer out in time to start preparing your build for it. So he's still going to have to play reactively a little bit late.
I am so excited for this. I gotta see how Dolan controls everything. Obviously, he may have altered some things around, but I think this is his best chance to win. This is probably one of his stronger builds. He was doing so well with it last season, and this is just such a scary push. This has been my bread and butter on the ladder for the past probably 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I've played against it, and you've done it to me, and it was a very, very scary push. And Dolan's control here is obviously going to be exceptional. He's very practiced with the build, so it's going to be looking pretty scary. It's not like he's completely foregoing his economy here. He is getting a command center out. He is going to be having a next step to this. It's not going to be completely all in, but that's what makes this so scary, and that's what makes it so hard to get a read on for Creature. So we'll have to see if he's able to get this Reaper here. He is chasing it down with his Adept Shade, but the Reaper is doing his best to juke here. Does manage to avoid it in the end with a nice little bit of control from Dolan. He's going to be able to juke and go right back into that Protoss base.
Yeah, and look at the difference in play already with this Reaper, just being a little bit more decisive. He killed a probe early. He gets another scout off. He already saw the Stargate, so he has complete information this game, as opposed to last game where his Reaper gets killed. He didn't get a single probe, and he didn't even get the tech scouted. So now, you know, Creature on the other side still doesn't see anything. This is it. He gets one Cyclone out, then he's going to switch over for Cloaked Banshee, and then get ready for a tank push. So this is going to be very scary. I think Creature is going to have a hard time with this.
Yeah, I do like this from Creature, though. I don't know if this is a reaction because of this wall off, but going for a Stargate does give you a lot of flexibility. Obviously, if the Terran is just going for a normal macro game, then you can just make an Oracle and harass. But this Phoenix is going to come out really quickly, and it's going to be able to scout absolutely everything. And I think if he sees this researching tech lab on the starport, he's going to be able to make more Phoenix, and he's going to be able to shut down the Banshee play and maybe even punish it. So I'm actually a little bit worried for Dolan here. I think a Stargate does put a little bit of a wrench in this engine.
It definitely can hold things up with the Banshee play. You might not get any harassment done with the Banshee, but you can never underestimate the DPS a Banshee can put out in a straight up fight. Now, if he keeps the Banshees alive, attacks with both tanks, and just shows up on the doorstep with 2 tanks, 2-3 Banshees, and a group of bio and SCVs, then it's very strong. The Phoenix aren't going to do a whole lot with SCVs repairing a tank or repairing a Banshee, and he really only goes for 1 Banshee and is going to switch to a Viking, so that's even going to help more against the Phoenix.
Yeah, and also with these Phoenix here, or with Creature here, he's probably going to have a lot less experience playing against this build, so he might have an idea of what to do in it, but obviously Dolan is going to know exactly what to do. He's played this a million times. He's going to know, okay, this is what I do when my opponent goes Stargate. This is what I do when he makes Phoenix. And so Dolan's going to be able to probably execute this a little bit more cleanly because this is kind of a rare build. This isn't something that every Terran on the ladder is going to be doing. As far as I know, I don't play in North America, but obviously I'm expecting Dolan to be able to have a little bit of a clearer read on how this game is going to play out than Creature will.
I'm very excited for this push out. It's going to be coming very soon. The second tank is in production. There are a lot of Phoenix. 5 Phoenix is quite a bit. So here we go. The second tank actually just finishing. Third tank on the way. And Dolan is moving across the map. Here come the SCVs. We should see a third command center dropping soon. There is a Colossus Bay on the way. So if he can survive to get some splash damage out, that'll definitely help him. But this is a very scary push.
Yeah, and what he's going to want to do here, Creature's going to want to do is to engage this army in small chunks. He wants to maybe catch the reinforcements with these Phoenix, get rid of those key units, but with the Cyclone and the Marines, with the Viking, it's going to be hard for those Phoenix to close the distance without losing absolutely everything. He's frantically trying to drop 3 shield batteries at the front. This is going to buy him a little bit of time because the tank push is a little bit slow. He's got to wait for those tanks to push up. Does manage to pick off a few of those SCVs building the bunkers, but there's plenty more where that came from.
Yeah, and look at that. He's able to depower the Stargate right away. Depowers a gateway as well. This is so scary. He's even throwing up a missile turret to help counter the Phoenix play, and more Vikings being added. Dolan being very patient here, shelling away the Stargate with the tank. He's not trying to move up too early. He starts moving up one tank, and now a second tank on the way, and a disruptor shot goes and hits the bunker. That is not what you need from that disruptor. It has to be killing units right now, and because he only has one disruptor on, he's supply blocked. I think this is very scary for Creature.
3 pylons on the way. Another disruptor is going to be able to start up now, and this disruptor is still alive here, but it's going to be so hard for him to get those shots through those bunkers. That Sim City from Dolan's going to prevent those disruptor balls from making contact. The Phoenix still just sitting in the back waiting for their chance to engage, but there's so much anti-air here, and it's got such a long range, it's going to be so difficult for him to engage. Now all the shield batteries have gone down. He's not going to have that overcharge. A second disruptor does come out, tries to get the disruptor shot off, manages to connect with basically nothing, and now Creature is in such a desperate situation here. 4 bunkers, 5 and 6 coming up as well, and this is going to be very difficult. He does finally engage here, but so much damage is being done.
That's right. The disruptors, like you said, not doing really any damage to the units. The units are what matter here, and they're all alive, and he's getting, sure, he cancels a bunker, but that's it. GG, taking way too much damage there.
Yeah, so that was, like you said, that pretty much was exactly what Dolan needed to do, right? That's his bread and butter, and I like that a lot more from him. Bringing his own brand of Terran into that game, really, really showing that he's got a strong build to take down Protoss.
I am so happy that we got to see that build executed by the man himself. The build I've been doing on ladder the past few weeks, I get to see it. The boys, the Marines, the Banshees, I love it.
Yeah, and I love how he just patiently pushes forward with those bunkers. It makes it just so much harder once the Terran gets entrenched, and normally you'd want to be kiting that with your stalkers in the middle of the map. You'd want to be intercepting reinforcements, but he didn't really make any stalkers because he was going for Phoenix. So I don't know, it's hard to say how he could have played that any better, but obviously the way that he handled it was not what you want to do.
Yeah, very, very tough hold. I feel like you got to thread the needle so much with that defense. Like, it's such a specific defense. Both players are ready, and we'll see what Dolan has up his sleeve for game number 3. Creature, no slouch himself, though, no sloth himself. He's going to try his best here to advance to the winners match to face Jason.
Yeah, maybe he can make Dolan say arg.
Arg.
Maybe frustration.
NA.
Arg NA. I wonder where the G comes from. Isn't it Archangel or something?
Archangel Gaming.
Oh, gaming. Okay, I get it. Cool.
All right, guys, here we are. It is the decider match between these two players. In the bottom left-hand corner, representing Archangel Gaming from North America, it is Dolan.
And his opponent spawning in the top right-hand corner as the blue Protoss. He is tying it 1-1. Creature.
I would love to see Creature do something cheeky this game. I want to see him do something aggressive, like in response to what Dolan just did to him, I want to see like a Dark Shrine in the corner of the map somewhere, or a Proxy Oracle or something that says, yeah, you know what, you can cheese me, but two can play that game. I want to do this too, and then send something. And I don't want to see Dolan lose. I want Terrence to win. I got that Terran blood in me, but I want to see Creature kind of come back and do something cheeky himself.
But the question is, does Creature have the cojones? Does he have the balls to go for something cheesy when his tournament life is on the line? This is really desperate, right? It's 1-1. It's only a best of 3, so he doesn't have a lot of other chances, and he didn't go for anything cheesy in game 1. So now he's already played 2 different kinds of games. The normal standard game that he played against Dolan went really well, but now he's got to, like you say, maybe he needs to take a risk. But I don't know. Does anyone in North America other than Rob have the absolute Chad status to do something really obnoxious with DTs right in the Terran's face? I don't know. We'll have to see.
I don't know if anyone could possibly be as Chad as Rob, but Creature is going Cybercore first. He's playing it a little safer, and Dolan doing the exact same opening so far with the 2 gases, with the quick wall off and the factory. So could be a similar SCV pull. We might see something different from his end. I love seeing that early wall off. I think it's very good so that the Protoss doesn't have that complete information right from the get-go. He doesn't know if you're going double gas. He doesn't know if there's a barracks on the map. He's going to find out soon that there's no barracks on the map because it's too late for that and there's a Reaper coming across. But just keeping the Protoss on his toes the whole time.
Yeah, and I did like there from Creature that he was going for a Stargate. I think a Stargate is one of the most interesting openings that a Protoss can do. Not the most reliable in the world because, again, you can just die to things. Like a really sharp push can just punish you really heavily, but I do like that he's trying his own things. Looks like this game is just going to be a Twilight Council. We're probably going to see some Blink play out of Creature again, which is not going to be the worst situation in the world, but obviously it's all down to that control and finesse with those Blink Stalkers, and it's going to be very difficult to harass someone who's just going for tanks really quickly.
Yeah, look at this, a cheeky pylon in the corner. This is what I wanted to see from Creature, as Dolan's doing a very similar opening to last game. He's got the Cyclone on the way, and again, with that Reaper being annoying, gets a couple of probes and has that complete information, unlike on Eternal Empire. Well, I shouldn't say complete information because we got that Dark Shrine in the corner. Woo! I love NA. This is it.
And I do like this from Creature. You can tell just the way he's controlling his units. He's not sending his Adept out to scout because the scouting is a little bit less important right now, especially because there's a full wall off. He's not going to be able to see as much. The most important thing is for him to deny vision of his tech. Because if Dolan goes in and sees that there's nothing researching at the Twilight Council, his alarm bells are going to start ringing, and it looks like he is going to be able to scout this. So if he's very, very studious, he is going to be able to notice that Twilight Council is not working, and it should tell you that you're doing something with it, and it's not research.
Not only that, but he gets the full scout of the main base and sees there's no other pylons in the main. There's just one pylon powering a gateway and a Twilight Council and a Cybercore. Now, what else could you have? You have to have a third pylon somewhere. He saw what was happening at the front of the natural, so there has to be some sort of alarm or trigger bell kind of going off in his head, like, hey, maybe I need a quicker NG bay, or maybe I need something else before I push out. But he hasn't saved any scan energy, so maybe he's not thinking about that.
It is hard to get that read in the middle of the game. Obviously, to us, it's really obvious to look at it, knowing that we know everything. It's able to see it and go, okay, it's got DTs. He should know. He has the information. But under the pressure, it is very difficult to get that read. There's no scans available. It looks like Dolan is going to be caught completely off guard by this.
Oh, yeah. So we do have scans almost available from 1cc, but these DTs already taking out a ton of units. All these Marines are going down. The first tank goes down. There is a Banshee across the map, but these DTs catching Dolan completely off guard. And I love the play from Creature, thinking, all right, yeah, this push is very strong, but you know what's stronger than this push? DTs. There's not going to be any detection on your end. You're planning to do an SCV pull, which, like, you're just doing the exact same build. And what's countering an SCV pull? Well, you're going to be muling pretty hard. You don't want to build a Raven with this push, and just stymies the push before it even happens. It does great economic damage, gets rid of 10 SCVs and keeps harassing. This is great for Creature.
And I love the decision there for him to just go for the units. Once he realized there wasn't a scan available, he actually just took 2 of those DTs and started killing Marines. He killed a tank. He's completely, like you said, stymied the push of Dolan. So Dolan really is in a difficult situation here. He's hanging on to not die. His push has completely lost its teeth.
Yeah, there's no push available. Now Dolan has to figure out, how am I going to get a third base from this position, because he's just now going to start mining in his natural. He's got DT in the main again. He's just getting picked apart by the Dark Templar, and now a Raven finally comes out, but I think the damage is done right now. I think Creature is just going to take a huge lead now, getting his third base up, getting charge and +1 attack. This is looking grim for Dolan.
There was a nice little bit of control there with that Warp Prism. He was about to pick up the DT when there was a lock on, so he juked the lock on and then got back and picked up the DT. I love this control from Creature, showing us he's not just a cheeky Protoss. He can play with the big boys. He can control things really immaculately as well.
Yeah, saving a DT is very important there. He's able to morph them into Archons. Now he can do an Archon drop on one side, but you know what? 2 Banshees can kill a lot of probes if there's no observers on that side of the map. We'll see if Dolan can get a little bit of damage done and pull himself back into this game.
But as we say that, he's going to get a little bit of damage done with these Banshees. Obviously, they don't have the speed, so they're a little bit less threatening, especially with the units in position here. But the Archon drop in the natural did a little bit more damage as well. So Dolan really in a desperate situation. But these Banshees are doing work. Nice maneuvers from Dolan. He kills quite a few probes. He's already up to 11 kills, so if he can get another 11, maybe he can put himself back into this.
He definitely needs to get more done, and he is doing a great job. Lots of damage being done to this probe line and really pulling himself back into this game. The late Banshees, you got to respect it. He knew that Dolan had Banshees, didn't build any shield batteries, so Creature playing a little bit greedy and, you know, getting punished for it. And now Dolan is back to almost an even worker count. Yes, he's down a CC, but maybe he can make something happen here.
Yeah, that was exactly what he needed to get himself back in the game. And like you said, not only does it force a lot of dead probes, it's also going to force 3 cannons to be built, because you just have to respect these Banshees, and you can't keep an observer and 3 stalkers in every single mineral line. So you have to build these cannons, which is just wasted money if the Protoss wants to go on the offensive. So it's really going to help to even things up a little bit. I don't think Dolan's in a position to just kill him just yet. He's still in a very precarious position. Still needs to think about if he's going to do a 2-base all-in or a 3rd CC, but this is the beginning of a comeback.
That's right, and he's actually starting to gain the worker lead, and those Banshees just doing a great job of keeping Creature at home. I think that's the key right now, is keeping Creature on his side of the map. Creature's going to want to move out as soon as these Banshees are dead, or just not harassing him at all, because he has such a strong army right now. He's got some beefy power units with the Archons, with the Immortals, and right now Dolan's still trying to get a 3rd base set up. He's getting his production, he's getting his upgrades, but everything's kind of a little bit slowed down because of the DT harass earlier. And now he's setting up with a Raven on the other side, probably going to try and do a little bit of multi-prong harass with the Raven and the Banshees.
And with that, he's actually killed more probes than Creature has killed SCVs, which is going to mean that he is putting himself back in the game very firmly here. Yes, he's on even SCVs. Yes, he's down a base, as you mentioned, but he's got his stim on the way. He's got his armor on the way, and even a Ghost Academy, which is going to give him a little bit of a tech advantage if he's able to get it up. If he's able to get those Ghosts and EMP those Archons, that's the main source of splash from Creature's army right now. That's going to put him in a really nice spot.
I love this move. He sees that there's still no shield batteries, goes back in, and the multi-prong Raven and Banshee combination is just getting him more and more ahead with the worker count. And I loved seeing those DTs do so much damage, but I feel like that's almost not gonna matter soon.
Yeah, Dolan is very wisely pivoted from his initial push, and I think very successfully found a way to get back in this game. This is what you see from really top players. Instead of just sticking to their build and trying to force it to work in a kind of gimped way, he needs to find a way for him to win. So delayed CC, lots of damage with those Banshees, puts him back in the game, and now he's ahead in workers. He's not ahead in upgrades, he's not really ahead in army, but he is ahead in economy, which is really the most important factor in StarCraft 2. If you're ahead in economy and the game goes on long enough, you can get everything else.
That's right, and Creature's now going for a very heavy Charge Lot Archon build, and with Ghost coming out, with the Enhanced Shockwave almost done, I guess Creature's going to have a bit of a timing here before Enhanced Shockwave, but Dolan doesn't really have too much out front. He's going to lift the CC if Creature attacks, but I think if he waits too long, he's not going to get the damage done that he wants to get done.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to for Dolan. I think these Widow Mines, how many hits he gets off on these Zealots. There's a really Zealot heavy army here from Creature, and if he manages to micro these well and split the Zealots, he should be okay. Looks like he is going to try a little bit, but in the end, the Widow Mines do get some pretty nice connections there. Dolan trying to kite him into the second, but a few of them go off on Archons. A big shockwave comes down on the Archons. 2 Archons do go down. Now it's mostly Zealots. Few Archons still alive, but Dolan getting a nice concave here. He's going to be able to fight a part of this Protoss army with a few more EMPs. It looks like a pretty good hold from Dolan, but the charge lots are relentless.
And Dolan loses the CC as well. He was a little bit late with picking up. And yeah, he started off the fight with an excellent EMP on the Archons, but I think Creature has actually just barely got enough to keep pushing and to win this game. He's taken out most of the Ghosts and some nice Widowmine hits, but now with Zealots being warped in on the high ground, this is going to be devastating. I think Dolan's going to have to tap out here pretty soon.
Yeah, you have to be breathing a sigh of relief if you're Creature. You almost threw the game by losing so much to those SCVs, but he managed to find a good timing to hit right before he had that critical mass of Bio and Ghost, and now he's slaughtering this Bio. He's actually going to lose all of his Zealots, but it's not going to matter. Victory there goes to Creature.
Wow, what a series from those guys. And Creature going to move on to the winner's match to face Jason next.
I have to say, even though Dolan lost that, I'm so impressed with his play. I am so impressed with that Banshee move. Oh, that was beautiful.
Yes. Again, despite losing the series, I think Dolan can look at that series and be like, you know what? I belong in this group. I can take down anyone in here. I was down pretty hard after those DTs, but you know, he came back with the Banshees and made a real good game out of it. And I think he actually could have, you know, a couple things go differently, and I think he wins that game. But you know, good game played from both players.
If you were going to interview Dolan right now, what question would you ask him to tilt him the most possible?
So Dolan, I noticed you lost all of your units to 2 DTs right before your attack with pulling the boys. What would you do differently? Do you think you missed the scout with the Reaper? Do you think you should have scouted around the edge of the map to find a Dark Shrine after not seeing another pylon in the main?
How would that game have looked different if you didn't stray off of your build and actually not do the push? Your push works so well in game 2. Why not just go for it again in game 3?
Exactly. Oh, that'd be too good. All right, Necro says he's got a good tilt question. What has Necro got? We'll read it out and then we'll go to a quick break before the winner's match. Do you even recognize the research animation of the Twilight Council? Did you not notice that he wasn't researching anything from it?
I mean, that would be a very tilting question, but to be honest, that is a serious question because that's actually the read that you need to get if you're going to defend that. It's such a hard thing to spot. I would never spot it, but
me as well. I just learned actually a couple of days ago that there is an animation when it's researching, so that's news to me. But we're gonna take a quick 5-minute break. When we return, the winners match in Group C, we're gonna have Jason facing off against Creature, an awesome TVP, and we will see you shortly.
Welcome back to StarCraft Trivia with Necro. The category is maps. The Team Liquid map contest is now a staple in the community. For the past several years now, pretty much half of the maps that we play on are community made. But it's not always been the case. Adding community made maps to a map pool was especially new to Korean tournaments. What was the first non-Blizzard, non-Korean made map to appear in a Korean tournament map pool? Was it A, Cloud Kingdom, B, Merry-Go-Round, C, Neo Planet S, or D, Ohana? The answer is A, Cloud Kingdom. This was a map that won the very first Team Liquid map contest back in the fall of 2011. Ohana actually came in second place. Not long afterwards, it was also incorporated into the map pool and the Korean tournament map pools, so like GSL. This map is historically important because it's the first map ever in both StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 to be implemented in Korean leagues, also showing the potential of community maps and encouraging more and more map contests to occur. And the S layout was very original, inspiring some maps like Galactic Process and Eternal Empire. And just the aesthetics too was unlike anything we've seen before. Just look at the maps that came before it. Antigua Shipyard, Arid Plateau, Entune Valley, Metalopolis, Shattered Temple, Xel'Naga Caverns. They're all kind of earthy, rustic-like maps, and then bam, Cloud Kingdom drops and oh my god, I mean look at it. It's like a map from the future. The S shape is symbolic of its creator, Superuman. Do not forget that name. Have you ever thought to yourself, god damn, we're gonna have a whole other season with this map again? What map has been in the StarCraft 2 map pool for the longest amount of time? And I'm talking in months, not seasons, because the seasons do vary in time. Was it A, Abyssal Reef, B, Akalon Flats, C, Antigua Shipyard, or D, Catalyst? The answer is C, Antigua Shipyard by Blizzard. Catalyst was in the map pool for 9 months straight, Abyssal Reef for a full 12 months, Akalon Wastes for 14 months straight, and Antigua Shipyard for 19 months. Antigua Shipyard though was a great map and it made for easily one of the greatest games of all time, MMA versus Gumiho at the 2012 GSCL Season 2 Finals.
At the same time, the Vikings now suddenly in assault mode take down the base at the bottom of the map.
Gumiho, man, is really, I mean...
He's still behind an overall supply, but he's playing so well.
He knows what to use, he knows where to fight. He's got to be careful with these Ravens, though. Those are so expensive. He may lose them. One can go down for sure. No!
Oh my god, he actually repairs it immediately. He's able to save it, but the base is now suddenly attacked. And this is like the lifeline of Gumiho. He doesn't have any additional income. He needs to save this base.
Oh, and he will save it. 300 hit points left. And the base to the south, the center base to the south that he's taken offensively is actually starting to mine now. He's dropping mules here. There's a lot of minerals to be had there. MMA is mined out at the top right. He's lost his base to the south. And he no longer has the economy advantage that he once had.
Now the Mule Hammer has been dropped, and now Gumiho being down on 19 harvesters. He really has to rely on this. But the army supply is still in favor of Gumiho here.
All these SCVs, if they get caught by those Hellions, it will be a tragedy. But unfortunately, he's not going to find those. So many SCVs on one base for MMA. But the problem is, if Gumiho gets even one more base, he's going to have better saturation. And he's rebuilding workers right now, evening the count, killing some workers here with Hellions.
We still have 3 Banshees, he has 8 Siege Tanks, and the Doom drop by MMA.
He's got a few turrets, but that's not enough!
He's baiting the fire with the Vikings, and now he drops in the main base, and Gumiho's army is so slow, he will lose his production.
He needs to do something here. What's he gonna do? How will he react? It looks like he's sending his tanks home.
And final question of the segment. Coincidentally, this map was the runner-up at the Red Bull Team Liquid Map Contest, also known as Team Liquid Map Contest 3 really, and was featured in the Red Bull Battlegrounds Atlanta. That tournament produced one of the best StarCraft 2 moments in history. Which map featured Scarlet's famous Burrow Banelings versus Bomber? Is it A, Daybreak, B, Frost, C, Habitation Station, or D, Whirlwind? The answer is C, Habitation Station by Sidian the Bard, the creator of Ascension to Ire, Abyssal Reef, and King's Cove as well. This match, of course, is legendary, and it all happened because we voted this map into second place of the Team Liquid Map Contest 3. Voting is important, okay? Just do it.
For the game,
the last
another
scan.
orbital gonna go.
The last scan's down. There are no scans left. Scarlet is going to be on burrow and run. She has killed off the last orbital command. Scarlet refuses to engage without the Mutalisk. The Queen's taking damage, a Queen falls, but Scarlet on the regroup is...
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Oh my God, the crowd on their feet! Scarlet, the most incredible game I have seen in DBT! Acer Scarlet qualifies for the playoff matches! The crowd has lost their mind!
I think I've lost my mind. That was... You know what? We didn't even see the Baneleys get burrowed as she was
my
running
God.
away, Sean. That was
Oh my
remarkable. It's
God.
freaking brilliant. Scarlet is the winner.
All right, welcome back, guys. Hope you enjoyed that trivia. Those videos were sent to me by Necro, and I really appreciate that. It really brings up the production value here. Having something to play during breaks like that is awesome.
Yeah, no, those have been amazing. I have them going on my second screen here, and I'm just enjoying. I don't know most of the answers, to be honest, but
Neither do I.
There's a nice throwback there to Antigua Shipyard. That was one of my favorite maps, actually.
I loved Antigua Shipyard. That was one of my favorite maps in Wings of Liberty.
Yeah, and it did stay around for so long. All my, like, when I think back to what the game was like when I used to play, all I can think of is Cloud Kingdom and Antigua Shipyard. That's just what comes to my head. They're just so vividly
Cloud
seared into my
Kingdom.
brain.
That was another classic. Oh my goodness. Then you had all the meme maps like Metalopolis.
Dude, I would love to do a tournament where we just play on the Wings of Liberty maps, or even on the Wings of Liberty expansion, and just do a throwback and just see who's still got it.
I would love to see players play on some of those old maps. The hashtag Dream Pool, bring it back. Let's have a dream pool of Ohana, Metalopolis, Cloud Kingdom.
Oh, there's actually a bit of trivia about Ohana that I know. Do you want to hear it?
You ask me what Ohana means, I'm gonna kill you.
What do you know what Ohana means?
Does it mean family?
Mike, it means family.
Oh.
Ohana means family.
Oh my goodness. All right.
I just thought you should know.
Going on to game one of our winners match. It is Jason and Creature TVP for the ages. The winner of this goes on to the Championship Sunday brackets. Very excited here, guys.
Yeah, not a lot of people know that, Mike. I just I'm not sure.
Just thought you'd let me know.
Yeah, I thought I'd fill you in.
Fill me in. Let me know that Ohana, you guys, means family.
So what do you think we're gonna see from Jason here, Mike?
What do I think we will see from Jason? I'm not sure, but what I do know is that he is spawning on the bottom left hand of Pillars of Gold, a map I have yet to play on this new season. It is Juggernaut Jason.
And right on the heels of his victory in his last PVT, we have the blue Protoss in the top right-hand corner, Sloth Esports Club's Creature.
Creature really won me over as a Protoss in that last series. He did exactly what I wanted him to do. It's like I could see the future for these players, and I loved it. I loved seeing that Dark Shrine in the corner of the map.
I can't wait to see you stream Protoss for a day, and I know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to do all the things that you find super annoying, and that's probably number one on your hit list. For me, it's when I play Terran, I always go for the Cloaked Widow Mines every single time. I drop them right in my mineral line, and in their mineral line, and I scan for their observers, and I just do my best to be a complete pain in the ass. And you know what? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but either way, it's a little bit of a way to cleanse your palate.
It is definitely what I do whenever I off races Protoss. The first thing I think is, what is the most annoying possible thing I could do as a Protoss player to a Terran player? And then I do it.
And then you live your own nightmare, but from the other side.
Exactly. You know what they say? A Terran that cheeses and doesn't play on a barcode is someone who's just been hurt. It's not someone who wants to cheese. It's someone who's been hurt.
Yeah, he's recovering from some trauma, and you know what? If that's what you need to do to heal, Mike, I fully support it.
sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. I do the same thing with Zerg. Sometimes I'll just go ahead and like 13 pool, and you know, sometimes some Zerglings show up at your base and you got nothing.
I also do that. So I played some Zerg off race on an alt account. I just played my placement games just to see how I do. All I did was Zergling all in every single game, and I ended up getting a higher MMR than my main account. So that was a little bit of a dead inside.
A little bit of dead inside moments. You looked at that, you looked at your main account, and you're like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I so terrible with my favorite race and so amazing with Zerg?
Yeah, it just proves my point that I think you're able to get, if you want to have a one-dimensional playstyle, you can get a lot higher MMR, but when you try to actually play the macro playstyle, when you actually try and play with honor, you're going to need to learn a lot more of the ins and outs of the games, which personally I find a lot more interesting. I find it more satisfying and engaging. But you know, if you're one of those players and you just want to make a bunch of Zerglings and get a high rank to flex on the girls you meet on Tinder, you go right ahead, dude, and you see how far that gets you, and you have my blessing.
Absolutely. And you know what better way to pick up girls than flex and show off your StarCraft 2 rank? I think that is just a fantastic way to meet women, you know?
It's such a bro move as well. You can see Rob probably doing that. He just Necro says flood the links, flood the ladies.
I love it.
Oh god.
All
Graphic.
right. So we have a 3 racks opening from Jason. The Reaper did scout the Twilight Council, so he's got a good idea of what he's up against because of how prevalent the Blink opening that Parting has been doing is among the Protosses, especially on the NA scene. I don't know about the Protoss scene on EU, but I know a lot of NA Protosses are doing this Parting Blink 4-gate build.
Yeah, it's a really strong build. It can lead you to just end the game a lot of the time. If you get a lucky snipe on a tank, if Jason just misplaces something slightly, it's very easy to lose the game. But that's if you're going for a 1-1-1, which Jason is not. He's going for this 3 racks build, and I don't know if Creature has the read on it. Obviously, he saw that there was a high Marine count, but I don't think that's enough for you to know 100% that this is going to be a 3 racks. And I think a 3 racks is going to do pretty well against this Blink build if it can hit it in a good time.
Yeah, and Jason very wisely, keeping his units away from that shade. He only shows a few Marines, so everything kind of looks normal for a 1-1-1. But now Marauders and Marines joining the Marines that are already out. When Jason pushes across, this could be very scary for our blue Protoss.
Yeah, so Creature needs to know about this as soon as possible. The Observer's moving across the map, but this Adept isn't in position to spot this move out. And this is exactly what Jason needs. Nice little movement there from Jason to take the path less traveled. And this is going to make all the difference because he's going to be able to close the distance without those pesky Blink Stalkers forcing stims and reducing his unit count as he crosses the map.
This is such a big deal. Not only is the Observer going to miss, the Adept is going to miss, but the fake Phoenix is going to miss the Scout. He is just now finding out this is a 3 racks, and Jason is at his doorstep. There's just a few Stalkers and 1 sentry. He stims up the ramp. He targets the pylon right away, unpowering the buildings, gets the sentry, and now Probe's having to come off the line, and this is it. This has to be defended. Lots of damage happening here, and Jason stimming once again forward, kills a lot of Probes, gets a couple of the Stalkers as well, or retreats them back up the ramp, and all these Probes are going to go down. This is devastating damage done by Jason against Creature.
Yeah, and obviously you expect to clean this up at some point as the Protoss, but the real key here is that he's lost so many workers here that really it's not going to be a great situation for him entering this mid game. It's kind of a given. You're going to clean this up. He's got a 3rd base, which is going to keep him in this game, but down to 32 workers against a Terran who's taking his 3rd on 45 SCVs with mules. This is a very, very frustrating situation to be in. And he also lost so many Stalkers, so he's not going to be able to blink into that base and do a lot of damage because Jason's already got stim and combat shields.
Yeah, so stim, combat shields, and +1, almost done. A Dark Shrine going down. You know that old saying, when behind, Dark Shrine, and Creature knows that adage more than anyone else. He has got to get back in this game somehow, and what's the scary thing about this 3 racks now is after killing 20 probes, the follow-up push. You're going to have more bio, you're going to have +1, and you're going to have Medivacs. And if the Dark Shrine doesn't do any damage, I fear for Creature, as Jason is just going to overwhelm him with bio.
Yeah, he does manage to get a nice snipe on that 3rd CC. the SCV that's building it, but really that's just a kind of drop in the ocean here for Jason. Jason's got lots of workers where that came from. He's already got his +1 finishing. He can just retake that, take another SCV and put it on. Does lose a second one though, and forces out a stim from the front of that bio, but is losing quite a few stalkers here for it.
Yeah, definitely not worth it there. It's, you know, he's trying to make something happen. He's trying to force something to go in his favor here after losing that many probes. He does still have a probe lead, but in this matchup, when you have 3 CCs and mules and you're even on workers, you're in a great position as a Terran. You're very comfortable. And now moving across the map with all this bio, he has the Medivacs support. There's still no splash damage out. There is, however, a Warp Prism heading across the map. It's going to try and drop some DTs in Jason's main, but he's going to need some magic to happen.
Yeah, this is really scary. He's been warping in so many stalkers this whole time, and those stalkers, yeah, they're what you need to keep that map control, but he's lost map control now. All he's on is mostly stalkers. These DTs are all that's going to keep him alive in this game. I expect these DTs might do a little bit of damage, but as long as Jason saves a scan or two, he should be able to clean up on both fronts.
Oh my god, the Warp Prism goes down. The Warp Prism goes down, and GG, Creature realizing it is over. After that, no harassment able to happen. Well played.
That was the only way that Creature could have got back in that game. I don't disagree with anything that he did, other than not scouting the 3 racks. I agree with how he played it out, but there was no chance.
He played it perfectly, with the exception of not knowing. He sent all of his scouts the same direction. His adept, his adept, the fake Phoenix, and the observer all took the same path across the map, and that allowed Jason to go by everything. And, you know, had that push gotten started or scouted on Jason's side of the map, you know, an extra sentry gets warped in, an extra, you know, shield batteries go down, and you don't lose the power to those buildings. You don't lose that many units. You don't have to pull all your probes across. But Jason just really catching Creature with his pants down there.
Yeah, and it was a great read on Jason as well to make sure that he was doing a build that completely countered what Creature was doing. So beautiful play.
Very beautiful play. We'll see if he can come back on game number 2 in Eternal Empire. As we have in the bottom left-hand corner, he is up 1-0 here. He is our hero, Juggernaut Jason.
And his opponent, he's down 0-1 in this series against Jason. Such nice play he's shown in other series, but can he do it again? Can he bring that back? He is Sloth Esports Clubs' Creature.
I say he's our hero, but really he's my hero. I'm going to have a lot of favoritism towards him because I literally watch his stream every day. But show some love to Creature too. He's playing an excellent series. He's already played a great series against Stolen, and even if he loses this, he will not be out. He'll have a chance to go down to the decider match and try to play and get out in second place. Although, you know, I say all that, he's not out of this yet. He has 2 games at his disposal. He's got to start right now, make something happen, win a game, and then try to advance in first place.
You're right, Mike, and he's got a lot of things going on for him. For one, he's got some excellent builds that he's shown against Dolan. He's got great scouting, he's got great unit control, but most importantly, he plays Protoss. And as we all know, Protoss is overpowered and incredibly good against Terran because of their lasers. So we'll have to see if he chooses to utilize said lasers in this particular game.
Fucking lasers and Disruptor Novas, all right? We can't forget about the Disruptor Novas. Can't forget about those fiery balls of death, and Protoss, like you said, being so overpowered. All right, he's got a chance just because of the race he plays.
I think Protoss is definitely the easiest race to convince a 12-year-old boy to play, right? You try and get them to play StarCraft, you're like, all right, there's 3 different races. And he's like, okay, tell me about them. And you're like, all right, so there's these humans, right? We've got, humans have like Marines, they got like rifles. They're kind of like army men. They're like, okay, army men are cool. Yeah, and then you got these other bugs. They're like this race of creatures that have a hive mind. They're like, what's a hive mind? It doesn't matter. He's got a hive mind, and they make lots of them, and they overwhelm you. And they're like, okay, like zombies? You're like, yeah, kind of like zombies. Like, okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, and then the last race has got spaceships, lasers, and explosive grenades that explode and kill everything in their radius. And they have invisible ninja assassins that can blink up buildings. Like, I think
they're also
the
psychic.
Is pretty clear. They're also psychic. Like that. Okay, you've sold me, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a montage video and put it on YouTube right away.
All right. So I don't know if I missed something, Did Creature see something that made him decide to build a shield battery in his natural mineral line?
Okay, so I can fill in on this a little
Okay,
bit. So
alright.
the battery there is part of the build. It's so that you can be aggressive with this Adept. So he can potentially deny mining here because he's not going to take any damage at home from that Reaper because of the shield battery.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, but Jason with some pretty nice. Ooh, look at that fancy micro. Saves every SCV in the bunker and inside of the command center. That was pretty cool.
So this is really nice from Jason. This is the best I think I've ever seen this defended. Really, really aggressive opening from Creature, and he wanted to deny the build of that barracks, or sorry, the bunker or the command center, but Jason gets both of them up and he doesn't lose anything. So this double Adept pressure is not too big of an investment, but it's obviously meant to do a little bit of damage, and so far he hasn't really done any.
Am I watching Maru micro right now? Am I watching Maru right now? Is he gonna kill 2 Adepts with a Reaper? Oh no, he's not.
He was so close though, Mike. Oh my god.
He wanted to put on a show for the people, but the Adept lives with 1 HP. What a Chad. And now it ties to the Marine. But another Adept getting revenge for his buddies.
This is like when you play chess, but you're both completely brand new to the game, so all you do is keep killing
Suicide
each other's
pawns.
pieces without defending them over and over again.
You just start sending pawns at each other like, haha, I took your pawn, but haha, I took your other pawn. And you just keep going back and forth like that.
Yeah, it's like Reaper kills Adept, Adept kills Reaper,
Marine kills Adept, Adept kills Marine, Oracle kills 5 SCVs. Let's see it. All right.
Man, so these trades are actually going to be good for him because he doesn't have that critical mass. I don't know. He actually could have gone in. I think there's only 3 Marines there. He might have been able to get it done. But looks like he's just going to go for the Revelation, scout exactly what he's doing in this game, and live to fight another day.
Yeah, it's very nice to, at least see the production, know what you're going to be facing. And now a medevac going across the map with some Widow Mines. There is not a armory in production, so it's just going to be a regular Widow Mine drop, which... this battery actually could hinder things a little bit in that mineral line with the probes being a little bit more bunched up together, going around the battery and having them be closer. It's going to make the Widow Mines do more damage, right?
Yeah, this could be a little bit dangerous. It really depends on if he notices it or not. It is a good pull, but the mines are almost going off. One probe does go down, but a nice pull from Creature is going to save the majority of those. But these Widow Mines are just going to burrow in this mineral line, and they're going to be a real pain to deal with here.
Look at this, just unburrow and burrow micro over and over again. And now, finally, one going off, getting another worker, and the Revelation goes down. These should get cleaned up by the Stalkers, but very good denying the mining time. And he's even going to kill one mine that wasn't off its trigger. So now all the mines are going to go down, but lots of lost mining time.
I think this is the first time that I've seen the invisible Widow Mines. Actually, were they even invisible? He did revelate them. I think I guess he revelated them just so that he could kill them before they went off. But I was going to say, I haven't actually seen the apocalypse that was predicted by the Platinum Leaguers in the All Things Protoss, that, this is going to ruin the game. Invisible Widow Mines are going to ruin the game. I haven't really seen them. I haven't really seen them at all, to be honest. And I don't think they're going to make that big of a difference.
You know what? The Reddit forums and the Blizzard, the BNet forums told me that invisible Widow Mines were just going to destroy Protoss and basically erase Protoss from existence. And I've yet to see that.
I mean, Protoss already doesn't exist if you look at the top finishes of tournaments, but that's not really the important thing. It really isn't going to affect your games in Platinum or Diamond or Master League. It's not going to make a difference. Just make a cannon, guys. Like, if you're really worried about it, make a cannon. It'll be fine. Take a deep breath.
It'll all be okay.
You built the cannon. It'll all be okay. You know what? Build 3 cannons. Don't worry about it.
Everything is going to be all right. Okay. Ooh, is he going to skirt this? No. All those units getting caught by... Ooh, that is going to make this push pretty much end, right? More than half the units getting caught in those stasis wards, and there's still more stasis wards here, so even more units being caught. Jason just being slowed down at every turn here. There's still another ward, so it's possible that the joining units that just got unfrozen might freeze up again.
Can we appreciate how fragile but also beautiful this playstyle is from Creature? He's invested so much into Oracles. I've actually never seen this in a PvT other than in the Florencio files, but he's using it to good effect. He's really delaying this push quite a lot, but will he be able to delay it enough to get the critical mass of units he needs? One of his Phoenixes does go down, but he's trying to push it out with this gateway, and he does have a battery at his third base, which should give him a little bit more time. But now there's a double drop that's going to go into his natural expansion. He doesn't have vision out on the map. He doesn't have anything to stop him at that natural expansion other than maybe a cannon and a battery. So I don't know if that's going to be enough here. It's going to be very dangerous once this bio starts pushing into his third.
That's right. And now the bio pushing into the third while a double drop goes in. And a cute move with the, look at that mule taking the stasis trap. And now Jason getting a very nice engage, kills the powered up photon cannon or shield battery. And now Jason picking off units, and it actually looks like he's going to get pushed back by the charged zealots, by the stalkers and the oracles, but Jason might just have a little bit too much here. Nice Widowmine connections, killing all of the oracles. All that's left are 2 archons and some reinforcing zealots. This is very scary from Jason.
Yeah, if he can get this Archon down, it's going to be only Zealots against Kiting Marine and Marauder. This is looking very desperate. As soon as Jason's reinforcements catch up with this, he should be in a good spot. I'm not sure where they are. I think they might be back at home. Most importantly, though, those Oracles have gone down, so there's going to be no more Oracles out on the map, so that means no more Stasis Wards, and that means no more spotting for vision for the rest of Jason's drops. So I think that was a really nice trade for Jason. He's not really ahead in any particular way right now, other than he has a much bigger army. He's taken his third base, so he's relatively equal on economy, but he's got those oracles out of the air, which is absolutely beautiful for him.
Yes, that's right. You know what? He's also starting to add ghosts to his composition. Both players on their 3-base economy, where I think this really starts to favor Terran, because as Protoss, you want to start adding your extra splash damage. You want to be getting, you know, that awesome mix of High Templars with Storm, Disruptors, and Colossus. But to afford all that, that's a lot of gas. It's hard to do that on just 3 bases. And the Terran, he doesn't need a lot of gas in this matchup. You just need enough gas to get your ghosts out. If you only have to deal with High Templar, you get 5 or 6 ghosts with the enhanced shockwaves, and you're looking great.
Yeah, it can be very, very difficult for Protoss, especially since that Charged Zealot nerf. They're not really going to trade as well as they could do. You really just need an overwhelming economic advantage in order to use them, along with really good upgrades. But in this game, they're both pretty even on upgrades at this point. Actually, Jason's investing a lot more. If you look at the production tab, it's full up with blue things for Jason. He's building the enhanced shockwaves. He's getting his 2-2. He's getting more barracks. He's getting so many good late game things. And I can't help but think Creature might just be falling behind in terms of the tempo.
I think you're right. I think the tempo is definitely in Jason's favor here. He's going to have 2-2 shortly. And if he waits for that, along with enhanced shockwave ghosts, with the Widowmines that are cloaked, we don't really see any observers on the map. I don't even know if we saw a Robo go down yet. But if there's no Robo, there's no oracles left. How is he going to detect the mines? This is looking very rough for Creature. And now Jason's stimming forward with the Widowmines, gets a nice storm off on the cloaked Widowmines, but ooh, almost snipes all the High Templar with those Widowmines. Instead, he morphs them into an Archon. But this is still a very scary push going up the natural ramp.
Yeah, Jason's doing all of this without his 2-2, so a little bit of an anti-timing for him, but it's not going to matter because Protoss doesn't have very good upgrades either. He's going to fly his medevac right over top of this Archon with a blink from the Stalker. This medevac's going to go down.
That was a very nice pick off there with that last Stalker blinking, getting the last couple of hits off. And like you said, a bit of an anti-timing as Jason moved up without ghosts. He moved up before his 2-2 was done. And maybe a little bit of a throw here. It could be scary if both these players get up to 4 bases and Protoss starts adding more splash.
Yeah, so it's going to come down to that dance between the ghosts with their EMPs and the splash, the EMPs and the storms for the Protoss players. So we'll have to see what the control is like. Obviously, both these armies get very clunky. Once you get to that high amount of spellcasters, you need to kite with your bio. You need to split them. You need to burrow your Widowmines. You need to get the splash damage off. You need to get rid of those observers. There's so many things that Terran needs to do here. There's so many things that Protoss needs to do. I'm really excited to see how these players engage here. Looks like Jason's going to go forward with a bunch of his ghosts, realizing there's no observer here. He gets one EMP up on the Warp Prism and another on the army, but because of those Warp Prism, it's going to save 2 of those High Templar in the back here, so he's not going to be able to get all of them, but some nice snipes coming out from Jason.
Those are like some campaign level ghosts right now. Skirting by the cannon, there's no observers on the map, and finally some Robos in production, but able to go across, get rid of the energy of the High Templars and even sniping a couple High Templars. Those Cloaked Ghosts just really showing their value, and they're just going to keep adding more value if they can get their energy back.
Yeah, I really like that from Jason, the decision making to realize there's no detection here. Why would I settle for an EMP when I can actually just snipe these High Templar? Like you said, it's almost like that mission on Call of Duty. You send the 2 snipers in on their own, they get the critical hit, and then they get right back out. Beautiful play from Jason.
Yeah, and he's keeping constant tabs of this army with the scans. He's trying to move in with the Ghosts and Widow Mines now. This is Jason's time. He wants to push before Disruptors and other splash damage is added. He gets nice EMPs off on the High Templars. However, he is going to lose a couple of Ghosts here, and now the Protoss charging forward.
Yeah, not sure why Jason's engaging with only half of his army. I think he wanted to set up a flank there. Does manage to get a few more EMPs off, but there's so many charge lots here. It's actually going to be very difficult for him to kite all of these back, especially with these blinks.
Yeah, you know what, blinking forward and getting that damage while the charge lots are chasing down. It's very nice damage being done by those ranged units of the Protoss player. And now Jason being forced to run back a little bit with his tail between his legs. He lost a lot of Ghosts there.
And once he meets back up with his reinforcements, he is going to be able to stabilize here, but now his army is out on the map, and the question remains, who is going to have map control here? At the moment, the Protoss army looks to be very, very scary, especially with the addition of this Disruptor. Jason's going to have to be very careful to maneuver his army around and not take an engagement just yet until he's ready.
All right, well, Jason sees the army moving to his side of the map. He is going to go for, not a base trade, but he's going to have to float this space away. He's going to try and do as much damage as possible and then retreat with his full army. But I don't think he can hold this giant Protoss force. He's going to get rid of the 4th base of the Protoss. This is definitely going down. And now Protoss moving in on the small army. And he's just going to run over this base. Jason forced to lift up his 3rd CC and retreat to his main base and try to rally what he can to that ramp.
Yeah, nice decision making there from Creature, realizing he's got the slightly better army. It's good time for him to push. He is going to lose his 4th base and potentially his 3rd, but he's pushing in the main base of Jason, doing so much damage with these units. Disruptor did get sniped from Creature, so now it's just basically pure Stalker and Zealot, but it's right on top of his production, and there's no way for Jason to stabilize in his main now. It's going to have to be a base race.
That's it. You know what? All the production is on top of by Stalkers, and Jason's going to have to retreat with these units, but there's no way his army is going to be able to take out all these Stalkers and charge Zealots. He's going to do his best right now with what he has coming out of the barracks, and he tries to fly everything back home, but I think there's just too much damage being done. He did do some good damage on the other side of the map, but Protoss being able to warp in units away from the production buildings, it's just the way the race is designed. It's great. I'm not saying it's in balance, but it's a very good thing that he can do on Creature side, whereas Jason, all of his units are stuck in his main base, and he's even calling down defensive nukes here, and Creature realizing this, he's just going to move away and keep sniping other things.
Yeah, so now Creature's backed into the corner of Jason's base, but I don't think that he minds if it does come down to a fight. Yes, there's a lot of Stalkers in this army. With the Stim Bio, it could be okay, but the Archon is absolutely murdering this Bio, and almost everything has gone down for Jason, with the exception of 4 Cloaked Ghosts. There's no Observer to see them, so they are just shooting away, but they will take a long time to kill all of these units, and their Cloak isn't going to last forever.
That's right. You know what? This engagement looked pretty good at the start for Jason, and now it's still looking okay. He's slowly but surely cleaning this up. He is mining to the 6 o'clock position, and he will finally clear all this up. He still has some production, but Jason's in dire straits here. He has 2 CCs. One is mining fully, the other one not so much.
Yeah, and the supplies tell the story. We've got 77 army supply for Creature to the 24 of Jason. Jason, yes, has the 3/3 upgrades, but Creature is about to finish his as well. You've got those Cloaked Ghosts worth their weight in gold, absolutely massacring that Protoss army, forcing the retreat. But now the Protoss army's coming back. He's going to have an Observer with it this time, and he's going to be able to push Jason in once again. It's going to be so hard for Jason to stabilize here. He doesn't have enough units. He might be able to snipe those Observers, but looks like he's just going to tap out, realizing there's an overwhelming Protoss force there, and it's a 1-1 for Creature.
Yeah, tough game for Jason, but very smart play from Creature, realizing Jason's army not at home, goes to get on top of the production, and maybe a bit of a misstep from Jason, going for the counter damage instead of trying to sandwich the army. I think that would have been maybe the proper, not the proper play, but the correct play to make. But in the heat of the moment, you know, hindsight's 2020. We see all, he does not. It's tough to say.
Yeah, it's really hard to know. Like you said, that might be the right situation in another game where he had a slightly bigger army, or his the Protoss had lost a little bit more of their army, things like that. It's easy to think that you're ahead in the tempo when you've been taking those trades. He got rid of so many good power units for the Protoss, got rid of those Oracles, got rid of those High Templar. Might have thought that it wasn't really too difficult for Protoss to push, but at the end of the day, he had too much left over, and it was just not the right thing to do.
That's correct. And now we are on to our third game. Jason and Creature ready to go. And this is it. The winner of this advances.
I am really excited to see here. It's so great to see all these series going to game 3. Not really too many sweeps here. I mean, with the exception of Jason's series, but Creature bringing it back. Both these players very, very strong, showing very nice TVP chops. And I really hope that somebody cheeses in game 3.
Yeah, really need to see if one of these guys tries something cheeky, but instead, I don't know, I was going to go with that. It'd be awesome to see if one of these guys tries something cheeky. Here we go. In the bottom left-hand side of Ice and Chrome, it is our boy, Juggernaut Jason.
And bringing himself back into this series against Jason, it is the Protoss player in blue for Sloth Esports, Creature.
All right, here we go. I gotta see it. Jason, what are you gonna do? What do you think? What do you think these guys are going to do? You know, we saw some cheeky play from Creatures, a huge map, Ice and Chrome. There's a lot of places you can proxy buildings. Do you think he goes for something like a proxy Dark Shrine again, or do you think that was a specific response to what Dolan was doing?
Well, this is part of the discussion there about what maybe hurts Protoss in the later stages of tournaments, because you can do surprising things in the early stages of them, but the longer the tournament goes on, the more chances your opponent has to see the builds that you do. And if you've got a tendency to do things in a certain way, put the Dark Shrine in a certain place, it still can be really, really difficult to surprise someone who's seen your games. And I'm not going to be surprised here if Jason has seen the game that Creature played earlier against Dolan, and he's going to know that this is a possibility. So even if he just has that DT build in the back of his mind, he's going to be able to spot for it. He might be looking, okay, I'm going to look for that Twilight Council. I'm going to be a little bit extra alert with my Reaper to see if it's researching. I'm going to make sure that I'm scouting out on the map, and that's going to make it harder for Creature to do that build. So I don't know. I think that is a build that relies on the element of surprise, so it becomes a little bit weaker in this situation. However, it's no guarantee that Jason's going to scout it. It's no guarantee that he's going to defend against it. And if you're an absolute Chad like Rob, you can just drop the DTs right on top of units that have detection and just micro them well and do the damage anyway. So really interested to see what Creature brings to the table. I think we could see anything, but I don't know if it's the right thing to bust out the DT build again.
Yeah, I agree with you on a lot of those points, and I would love to see him, either one of these guys, do something cheeky, whether it's a hidden armory on the map, or the quick cloaked Widow Mines, or the Dark Shrine, or a Stargate, or something somewhere on the map. This is North America. We love seeing these guys play that way. They bring their own kind of styles to the table, but nope, not yet. We have a Twilight Council in the main. Funny that the wall is set up very similar to how he played it against Dolan, though. His building placement is almost identical to how he set it up against Dolan to deny the Reaper scouting behind the Nexus too much. And he's got only one pylon there, so you never know. He might send a probe out on the map pretty soon.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, I think this is probably just going to be the way that Creature walls on this map, to be honest with you, because there's not, as far as I know, I mean, I haven't really been keeping up with the All Things Protoss map walling guide, but I don't think there's too many intriguing options on this map as to how to make sure the Reaper doesn't get in there. However, it's still a possibility, and like you said, he's only got one pylon in his main, so it definitely is still a possibility, and at very least, he might be able to make Jason think about that. And maybe if he doesn't go for it, looks like he is going to go for a blink build in this case, but if Jason scouts that, he is going to have that in the back of his mind. Might make him make a turret, might make him into making a Raven, you never know.
Yeah, I think there's enough in the main now. He did start putting down more pylons and another gateway, so if Jason does scan or get a scout in, he's going to know what he's up against. Jason going for a quick medevac here, but no mines.
Yeah, looks like he's going to be doing a fairly early tank push here. This is actually maybe a really nice read here. Starting to produce tanks this early. Yeah, he's going to give up the ability to do any harassment, but he's going to be able to be very stable against this 4-gate blink build. I'm not sure if he's going for the 4-gate version, but he is going to be stable against any kind of blink play whatsoever. And when that tank push comes out for Jason, it should be pretty scary. There is a very fast third base coming down from Creature off of the back of this blink. He's only got 2 gates right now, actually, with a very early third base. And actually, he doesn't build a third base. Did he cancel it or did he not build it? With these SCVs being pulled out for Jason, it looks like it's just going to be a very fast tank push.
Yeah, so he cancels the third base. Oh,
sorry. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Sorry. That was just a misclick for me. I was trying to get back on my camera.
all right. So players, that's okay. Mistakes happen. All right, Jason moving across, has the tanks in the medevac, and now just a few boys to help out with the repair. And Jason moving forward with these tanks, trying to put some pressure down on Creature.
Yeah, this is looking like a very scary push here for Jason. These Marines are going to be battering down these shield batteries already. There is a shield overcharge available on this, but there's only one pylon here, and Jason can just whittle away at these as long as he wants.
Yeah, and one battery already down on energy. He activates the super battery. Here we go. He's going to try and hold with these stalkers. He blinks on top of the first tank, but lots of damage being done to these stalkers, and all the probes coming off the line now. All the Marines are pretty much picked off. There's about 5 left. He picks off the medevac, but I think this is it. He's done a lot of damage. A lot of the probes are being taken out, and Jason with some nice micro. He actually kept the medevac alive. Oh my goodness. This could
be
another
tank is joining the fight, and the bunker has gone down. Looking like some nice micro here from Creature to stabilize here, but so many workers have gone down already.
Yeah, a lot of workers going down. The battery is now under siege from the tanks, and Jason pushing forward with bunkers. This is very scary and not a huge commitment. He still has a lot going on his side of the map. He only pulled 3 SCVs with this push, and he's going to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, desperately trying to hold on. No pylon even on the low ground for Creature right now. He's in dire straits. I don't think he has charge finished just yet. It's about to finish. He might be able to engage on this, but there's so many bunkers for Jason that he's going to be able to retreat to them once the charge lots go in.
Yeah, the charge does finish. The charge lot's going in, but Jason retreats to the first bunker. And now Stalker's getting on top of one tank, does snipe one tank off, gets rid of one bunker, but this is such a hard defense now, especially with units on both sides. And Creature calling GG. Jason advancing #1 in our Group C. Creature going down to the deciders match. We're going to pull Jason on We're going to pull Jason on for a quick interview before he gets on with his day. See if we can get Jason here for a quick interview. This is usually a Terran stream, so I'm sure there's a few of you Terran memers. I would love to hear him talk, give his opinion and thoughts on the tournament thus far. just waiting to hear back from Jugger J. And then we'll get on with the losers match to see who will face Creature in the deciders match.
I might have to pop back in here while we wait. What do you think of that game, Mike?
I loved it, with the exception of an accidental pause. That's all right, but I really liked it.
I can't even explain why that happened. I was trying to get back to the observer's cam, and my hand like quickly, you know how StarCraft players were trying to do things quickly. I like went to go hit a hotkey to get back to the observer's cam, but for some reason I hit the pause key on the left and far right of my keyboard. I'm just thinking that's the only key that would have done that. Why? Just don't make me a referee, Mike. Don't let me be a referee.
All right, I didn't know that was a referee thing. My mistake, sir.
Yeah, it shouldn't have mattered, because why would I hit that button anyway? But it was just like a quick thing that I accidentally hit the button and didn't even think about it. And I hope that Creature isn't upset about that. I'm not sure that it would have made a big difference, but again, it was a little bit of abrupt and it can throw you off. So
yeah,
I feel bad about it.
Hopefully he's not too upset. Like I said, I think it happened at a time that wasn't pivotal, but I can understand if he is frustrated a little bit, but that's okay. Things, accidents happen. And yeah, but I really liked that push that Jason pulled out there. It was really interesting. He only took 3 SCVs with that push. He moved across with, I think it was like 10 Marines, 2 tanks, and just a medevac, and it ended up being very strong, hitting just before blink.
Yeah, that's a really strong timing. I love just bopping those tanks into the medevac and blasting it across the map, using that medevac boost to get the tanks there before they ever could otherwise. Also makes it a lot less vulnerable to the blink stalkers if they are out on the map, so they're not going to be able to kite them and do that damage. So really nice clean push from Jason.
That's right, and almost a defense after losing a lot of the probes and activating that super battery. It seemed like he was very close to defending that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think either you defend it or you don't, and if you're gonna defend it, the shield battery is gonna make it more convincing. But I don't think the shield battery overcharges enough to make you actually hold it when you're not ready, because he didn't have stalkers out on the map kiting those reinforcements. Only at the end did he really blink in and snipe those tanks at the end, but it was too late by that point.
All right, I think they're getting... Jason may have just gone back to sleep. He did say he was pretty tired. I haven't gotten a response quite yet from him. We'll try and...
So maybe
no winter interview then.
Maybe what we'll do is we'll take a short break and do the trivia thing before the losers match. But I'll give it another minute, and then maybe we'll change things up.
All right, sounds good, buddy.
I think they're figuring out the map order and everything right now. So we'll have NYK versus Dolan next. That's exciting, I think.
Yeah, so what's Dolan's TVZ like?
I honestly don't know what his TVZ is like. That's definitely something that's going to be new for me.
If it's anything the way he plays TVZ or TVP, I think it's going to be exciting. I don't know. Will we see like a wall off? Probably not, because the Overlord will just see everything. But surprising a Zerg is really important, and it looks like Dolan is very good at it.
Yeah, his TVP is something else. I really like watching his TVP because it's very different from a lot of other Terrans that I watch. So, and it seems like he has a different grasp of the matchup, but I don't know what his thoughts are on TVZ at all. So I'm interested to see if he kind of thinks differently about that matchup too, and if he's going to do something different in that matchup compared to what you see with like normal Hellion and Liberator or Hellion Banshee openers.
Yeah, and honestly, it's the thing that's going to make me a fan of a player more than anything else. Yes, I'm going to be a fan of the people who are the absolute best, but I'm also going to be a fan of people who are just really good, but they also play their own style. I think a great example of that is Rotterdam, who plays completely his own builds.
He's really, really good. Maybe not the best in the world, but if you're gonna not be the best in the world, you might as well find your own way to win, and that's gonna get you a lot more fans. And as someone, if you're not winning a lot of tournaments to pay the bills, having a lot of fans, having a lot of people watching your stream is a great way to make money in esports. If you just want to be cynical about it.
Yeah, that's right. It's really cool to see players at the highest level kind of develop their own styles. And like you said, they might not be at the tippy top where they're making money winning tournaments constantly, but it's cool to see them still be at a very high level doing their own thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to a certain extent, I try to be like that in my own play as well, and I know you do as well a lot of the time. Remember, you used to do a Sky Terran build a lot of the time. I know that's sort of fallen by the wayside, but I love that kind of thing where you just find your own way to win, and I find I play a lot better in that as well because I'm not at the level where it really matters what I'm doing. So doing something that's unique and interesting, that's new, is more likely to get you a lot of games, to be honest, a lot of the time. If you just do something surprising and something they've never seen before, it's going to be a lot harder for them to have the right reaction.
That's right. And you know what? You say it's fallen by the wayside. I'm bringing it back. Slowly but surely,
stream
I'm
Sky
bringing
Terran
it back.
2020. That's how you're going to get 5K, dude. You're going to go all the way back
Speed
around.
Banshees.
You're going to go back to Sky Terran.
Full circle, buddy. Full circle.
That's
all
what I
right.
want to see.
It looks like Jason is away for now. Maybe we'll try and get a hold of him a little bit later, but we'll try and get this next series set as both players are ready. I'll just make sure before I start it up.
Make sure I'm not a referee, Mike. Take it away. Lord, take this cup from me. We don't need two referees.
All right. No, I just
There
did
we
it just in case. All right.
There we go. You've
It was
got
the
it.
just in
You've got
case
the referee duties. You can be trusted with the pause button.
I don't know if we want to put that much faith in me, but we'll try. All right, Dolan is ready. It looks like NYK is also prepared to go. So we are going to start now. Here's a little fun fact, guys. Little bit of a fun fact. In our Championship Sunday, the rivalry, Jason and Rob will be playing each other.
That's gonna be exciting. That's what the people want to see. That's what gets the people going. It's provocative.
I'm so excited for that match already. They played a best of 69 back in the day. I don't know if it was really that far back in the day, but it was pretty cool. I watched about half of it because it spanned over 2 days. All right, guys, it's time for our losers match. The winner of this will move on to the decider match to potentially place second in the group. The loser of this will be eliminated from the Miserable Cup. It is in the top left-hand corner in the pink trunks, Cos Esports' NYK.
And his opponent showing us some very creative builds so far in this tournament. He is the most dangerous duck in North America. He is Dolan.
I love that you made the Dolan Duck reference, and I thought that that's what his name was after as well. But then when I was inviting players to this tournament, I was looking up Dolan. It's actually his last name.
It's actually his last name.
Actually, his last name. So that's, that was my something new that day. It's like, oh, neat. I always thought he was just making a Dolan Duck meme.
It's never gonna go away for me though that he's Dolan, and so I'm always gonna picture him as a kind of poorly drawn duck. It's never gonna go away.
The poorly drawn, psychotic duck in the memes of like 2010 or 2012, whenever that started.
Dude, I have so much useless knowledge that I've accumulated from being on the internet over the years. Like, I used to read, I think it was called Encyclopedia Dramatica, and it would be like all these, it was horrible, honestly, but it had all these like memes and stories of all these like old memes and stuff. And I would like read all of these, and I was like a meme expert in like 2005 when I was like 15 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
And I knew all of this, and I had this massive repository of knowledge. And now it's just so depressing because it's completely useless, and I've completely forgotten most of it. And now I'm a teacher, so I go into classrooms, and students are like, "Sir, do you know what a meme is?"
And I just have to just die a little inside. I'm like, I was there when
Don't
memes were forged.
Don't cite to me the magic. I was there when it was.
And then you start to explain, and you're like, these kids do not care about why the pool's closed. They do not care about battle toads. They don't care about any of that shit. They just want you to teach them some English.
Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. It's kind of like with sports knowledge, you know. I used to be huge into sports in high school. I still like watching football and hockey, and now esports is thrown into that bin of useless knowledge that I have. But you know, I still have stats memorized from like hockey games or hockey seasons of my favorite team in 2008. Like, of course it's not gonna matter now. What the heck? But I still know that like Pavel Datsyuk won the Lady Bing 3 times.
Knowledge. You've got to open with that knowledge on your Tinder dates, man. You've got to just be like, oh, do you remember which goalie had the highest save percentage in the 2008 Stanley Cup playoffs? Just real quick. And they're like, was it Patrick Waugh? And you're like, oh yeah, it was. I don't know who it was, dude. I have no idea, but
oh yeah, just gotta throw that on the Tinder profile for any ladies out there. I'm a compendium of useless sports and video game knowledge, and now internet knowledge too.
Fun fact actually about trivia is if you're with someone who knows less than you don't actually need to know the correct answer. You just have to pretend that you do.
As long as you're confident with the delivery, right?
Yeah, you just sort of, you'd be like, you know what, guys? It's really interesting to see how the roster of the Colorado Avalanche has changed over the year. And you just start chatting shit as confidently as you can. And as long as the other person is not an expert, you're going to come across like a complete idiot either way.
Either way. All right, Dolan opening up with a fusion core and some Hellions. So he's going to go for that quick battle cruiser the same way we saw Jason. Now, it'd be cool to see if he goes into mech with that, or if it's going to be one battle cruiser into bio. We saw NYK kind of struggle with it last time, and we'll see if he does again. I didn't see if he was throwing down spore crawlers. I think this might catch him off guard.
Oh, but the production of Dolan is idle in the middle. Looks like he's just saving up enough for this battle cruiser, and these Hellions do get cornered, but quite a few drones do go down.
Yeah, and you know what? They're not out yet. He does pick off a couple of drones and gets every single Zergling. So yes, he loses most of the Hellions, so he can't really push back creep with them. But now, you know, NYK's got to rebuild some of that army, and just in case Dolan comes back with more Hellions, you know, you don't want to just drone too heavily and then, you know, 6 more Hellions show up. Oh no, I don't have anything to defend these. I guess I lose all the drones I just made.
Yeah, and all those queens, he did see where they were on completely at the third base. So as long as those queens don't waddle their way back over into the main base, if the battlecruiser does teleport into the main base, it's going to do a decent amount of damage. There's just a queen and a spore there right now. I don't know if NYK has a read on it at this stage.
At this stage, I don't think he's seen... Yeah, he hasn't seen the fusion core, so very good job of hiding his tech. Now Dolan's going to teleport this battlecruiser across, and now the jig is up. He knows. He heard the sound. There's a global sound for that battlecruiser. He did teleport it into dead space, though, so it doesn't take any damage right away. And a second battlecruiser on the way with the Yamato cannon, so he is going to commit to the battlecruiser opening and add more to it. And now we'll see how many drones he can pick off.
I really like this very conservative use of the battlecruiser, teleporting it into dead space and just focus firing those drones. Now the queens are all being pulled in. He doesn't have the teleport available. It looks like it might go down, and it does. Oh, that is a devastating loss.
You cannot be losing that battlecruiser. That is so important to keep that alive for any counterattacks. And now Hellions driving by and getting some drone kills at the third base. So, you know what? I don't think that could have been really bad for Dolan, losing the battlecruiser, but picking off that many drones at the third, I think, really helped him out.
Yeah, he's basically reset the economy of NYK. Dolan actually has the superior economy right now. He's lost that battlecruiser, which is obviously not the greatest, and if NYK decides to be aggressive with some roaches or something, he's not going to have it to defend. But it looks like NYK is instead going to opt for a Spire. He is re-droning to get himself back in the economic game, and I don't know if Dolan's going to be ready for the switch to Spire at this stage.
Yeah, and that's part of losing that first battlecruiser. You lose that, and now you maybe aren't able to defend against a huge Muta switch. And with the Spire coming up, you're either going to see a lot of Corruptors get made to defend against and, you know, kill a battlecruiser, or you're going to see a ton of Mutas, because there's already a lot of Lings out. It's going to be Mutaling Bane, at least for the time being. And now Spencer getting a nice round on these Hellions, actually. Doesn't really lose any drones there. Loses 3, but that was a lot of Hellions to lose.
And Mike, as a Terran player, are your alarm bells going off at this stage? Because if it were me as a Protoss, and if I'm only seeing Lings at 7 minutes, I would be thinking, okay, where's the gas going? He's got all the gases taken. He knows that he's taken the gases at his third base. There's got to be some kind of unit being made that costs gas. So I would be thinking, as a Protoss, probably Spire, but I mean, how easy of a read is that?
I think it's a pretty easy read if you're Dolan, that if you see all this gas and you see only Zerglings, you got to think, okay, he's either going to be teching very hard here, maybe a very quick infestation pit, or it's going to be a Spire play. And look, we have Mutas in production. So there are 2 battle cruisers, which will do okay against Mutas. It all depends how many Mutas come out from Spencer. He has 10 in production right now, and that'll do okay against 1 battle cruiser. You know, 2 battle cruisers with Yamato, you get 2 instant kills on the Mutas right away, and then you can kind of micro the battle cruisers and repair them so that the other Mutas don't do a whole lot.
Yeah, and he also is going for Cyclones, which I know Cyclones aren't the most ideal unit against Mutas, but obviously they are going to help if you have that critical mass of them to lock on, kite those Mutas away, along with the battle cruisers and maybe a turret or 2. It should be pretty easy for Dolan to defend this.
Yeah, and the Mutas are now just crossing the map. They are going to pass just by the battle cruisers. 1 shot goes off from the battle cruiser, so the Mutas are going to retreat and try to catch these battle cruisers and maybe kill them. If he's careful with them, or he's not careful with them, he's going to lose these battle cruisers. And there we go.
Really
We do
nice control so far from Dolan, sniping off a few of those Mutas, killing the ones that are low with the auto attack, and then teleporting these battle cruisers away in the nick of time. Beautiful control from Dolan.
Yes, this is where every Platinum and Diamond Zerg sees this and says, battle cruisers are so overpowered, they just get free kills, and then they teleport away with low HP. Well...
And they're right.
They're right. They're absolutely right. I don't know where I was going with that, but they are 100% right. All right, the Mutalists are now going around the map, trying to find something to do, and maybe find the battle cruisers once again crossing the map, but they are not going to find anything quite yet. Maybe try and harass at the natural base. As
you really hate to see the Zerg unemployment crisis in full swing. You've got all these Mutalisks that are out of a job. They've been completely driven out of their natural habitat, harassing the Terran by these battle cruisers and Cyclones. They're not going to get any food if the winter comes up and it's especially cold. I don't think these Mutalisks will survive.
Can you just like keep talking like you're the commentator on a British nature show? Do you watch a lot of that where you live?
David Attenborough.
David Attenborough. The Mutalisk is growing across the map with its family, with its flock, and it's not going to find any Terran food, so it might starve to death, causing it to fall down into the abyss on this map.
And the Mutalisks are trying desperately to find something to eat, but once the mother battle cruiser comes in to defend her younglings, they won't be able to go any further.
All right, so a few nice Widowmine shots there, scaring the Mutalisks away, and 2-2 melee and Carapace coming up for the Zerg. I feel like this is not the composition Spencer wants to be on, especially against this many Hellions. This is a very scary looking mech army versus primarily Mutaling Bane.
Yeah, especially when he's preemptively switching these into Hellbat mode. This many Hellbats with proper micro and blue flame with good upgrades. What are the Zerglings even going to do? As soon as they get anywhere near this, they're going to absolutely melt. And the tanks are a little bit exposed here, but with good control, this should be absolutely fine for Dolan. But there is a massive counterattack from NYK, catching up those reinforcements and going into the third base of Dolan. This is going to force all the units from Zerg onto this side of the map. Dolan's going to commit into the third base here, but he's losing a lot back home. It looks to be a very, very base trade situation.
That's just it. Spencer has to go for the base trade here. He starts setting buildings on fire. There's no way Dolan is going to turn around with these units, and NYK is going to have to get some serious damage done. He's going to have to set every building that can float on fire, deny any units coming out of the factories, and he's going to have to do his best to do it quickly. Mutas are pretty good with that, but this is so much mech. I feel like the mech can actually out DPS what the Mutas and the Zerglings can do. And even look at all these missile turrets just taking out tons of Mutalisks.
Yeah, they're trying to wipe out those missile turrets, but there was just so many. You don't want to be trading your army against buildings right now, but he needs to kill every single Terran building if he's going to win this base race, so he has to engage them as quickly as possible. He does have the mobility advantage over those mech units. Slow and Steady are moving their way across the map, but they're not able to split effectively in small numbers. So this is actually a really nice decision from NYK to base race. He does force all of the Terran production to force up, and now there's only one mining base for Dolan. Meanwhile, Zerg still has 2 bases, and as long as he can rebuild a Spire somewhere, he should be able to keep making mutas.
All right, here's the play. For NYK to win this game, he sets all the floating buildings on fire. There's only a handful of SCVs at that planetary. If he attacks all of his units on the missile turrets, kills them with the Lings and Mutas, he can make this happen. He can actually win this base trade, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to try and get on every single missile turret here. All but 1 are dead. Okay, and now the Mutas have to kill everything.
Yeah, there's nothing left back at home for Dolan to defend against these mutas, so it's just a race against the clock. Who can kill each other's buildings faster? But
there's no
look at the bank on
SCVs.
NYK and Dolan. Both of them have a lot of money to spend building units out on the map, but NYK still has 3 hatcheries out on the map. There are floating buildings for Terran, but with so many flying units, I don't think that's going to be the biggest of deals.
NYK is going to do it. He's going to win this game. There's no SCVs left. The mutas are going to kill this planetary. Once the planetary goes down, Dolan is stuck. He cannot be sending units out. He's going to teleport the battlecruisers back. There's no way to repair these units, though.
But yeah, and now the mutas can regenerate their hit points and fly around, killing anything for free wherever they can. A few Hellions peel off and go into the only mining base of NYK, but I don't think he cares at this stage. He has the more mobile army, and wow, there's no command center for Dolan on the map. He has 0 workers. He's gonna be revealed, and it's only a matter of time before NYK outmaneuvers him and cleans him up.
All that is left is a barracks that's barely built. If it were a fully built barracks, it's on fire, it dies. But because it hasn't finished, all it's going to take is 1 volley from the Mutalisk to kill it. And look at this, Dolan moving out. He is not leaving enough at... Oh my goodness, Spencer's going to win this game. He's going to win this, even with the Widow Mines, and that's just so many mutas. He just has to hit it 1 time. He's going for it. He sees them. He sees it.
And the army's out of position. Dolan's desperately trying. He has left a few Thors back home, but it's just not going to be enough. With that angle the Mutalisks are coming in from, they only need 1 or 2 hits. They do also need to get...
Oh, there's the... I didn't see the refinery. Okay. This is so close. This is so tight. The mutas are coming in from the south. The Widow Mines are burrowing. The mutas are going for it. It's on fire. This is it. GG.
Oh, good commitment from NYK. I was very worried at the end there. If Dolan left maybe just a few more units behind, maybe, but I think that was the best he could have hoped for.
What an absolute mad game. Dolan, you have to think he's kicking himself after that one.
Yeah, that feels real bad to have such a good army, but being able to be, honestly, I have to give it up to NYK. He just completely made the right decision. He found the only way he could have won, and he went for that base race, and his army was a lot better in that situation.
What a wild game from NYK, doing his best with Mutiling Bane. He realized he couldn't take a straight up fight against the mech, goes for the base trade, and does it in spectacular fashion.
And they say that one of the 3 rules you should never break are, never start a land war in Russia, never challenge a Sicilian to a game of wits when death is on the line. But the 3rd one is never base race a Terran. But it looks like NYK never heard that or just chose to willingly ignore it. And it paid off for him in this game. Sometimes that conventional wisdom isn't always correct.
That's right. He has so many Mutalisks there, and I kept the brains it took for him, the big brain, to send the Lings right next to the planetary and attack the missile turrets was just a phenomenal move.
Beautiful play from there.
All right. Now, fresh off the heels of a Game 1 victory in the top right-hand corner of Everdream, it is Cosmos Esports' NYK.
And has to be a little frustrated after losing that very tight base race. He is a terrifying Terran player. He is Dolan.
Dolan Duck from ARG NA. Oh man. He is definitely saying ARG after that one, because that was just, it was such a nail biter, so close, and he has to be kicking himself. He has to be thinking, wow, like I could have sent, you know, I could have sent the battlecruisers back sooner, or maybe I could have sent the Thors with, you know, or maybe I could have sent something, the you know, the Cyclones and the battlecruisers, and try to get rid of the mutas that were just killing everything. It seemed like he had a lot of time to maybe try and split his army up in a way that could stop that base trade from happening, but you know, he just went full commitment, tried to get rid of all the Zerg buildings first, and ended up biting him in the butt.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I think it's one of those situations where your brain takes a shortcut in the situation and you end up at the wrong answer. So he's moving out with all his mech on the map, and then he goes, okay, I'm gonna base race you. You're gonna go for my main and get it, sure. But I have 12 turrets and a planetary at my third, so that I should be fine in a base race, right? But it just was too much. Then he wasn't counting on NYK fully committing to killing all those turrets with the mutas, and NYK just got the edge there. It was really, really nice play.
That's it. Like, again, just having the mental fortitude to make that decision to throw the Lings to the slaughter. You know, they're gonna die to that planetary, but if I can kill every missile turret here, I can win the game. So just having that decisiveness and being able to make that call and have it be the right call is just awesome to see.
Yeah, it's the mark of a great player. And honestly, it's hard to see. It's hard to even fault Dolan too much. Like, it's the advantage of being the player that initiates the base race is so huge. You can't underestimate it, because Dolan wasn't planning on base racing, right? He was planning to attack the Zerg. He was doing a timing push. But NYK probably had that plan in the back of his head for a long time. He's thinking, okay, I'm Mutiling Bane, I can base race. And so he initiated it, and then he was able to set himself up. He made a proxy hatch, he saved some of his workers, and he started playing for that win condition a lot earlier than Dolan did, and that gave him a huge edge.
That's right. You can really tell that he pre-planned that, knowing that that's what he was going to do with that composition. That he, like I said, you can't really take a straight up fight Mutiling Bane versus that many Hellbats versus that many Cyclones and Thors and battle cruisers. It's way too beefy and strong of an army for the fragile style of Mutiling Bane. So to make that decision, to pre-plan for it, and then to see it executed to the way that he wanted, it's just awesome to see.
Yeah, really, really nice execution. I love games like that because it reminds people that StarCraft is a game of strategy. It's not just a game of mechanics. It's not just a game of death balls bumping into each other and seeing who has the bigger ball. It is a game where you have to think about what you're doing. You have to think about how your composition works. You have to think about the game state on a number of levels. And yeah, it's a game of mechanics, but there's still a lot of nuances to it. And NYK uses those nuances to his great advantage.
That's right. I love you bringing up the strategy part of that, because you're exactly right. It's not just one big death ball against another big death ball, which people would argue, yeah, you see that in lots of pro games. Very rarely do you see a base trade scenario like that, except for maybe in TVT, where, you know, one player has tanks and marines, the other player has tanks and marines, and they don't want to fight each other because they're scared of each other's tanks and marines. But yeah, it's really cool to see a base trade happen in a TVZ that's initiated by the Zerg, not the Terran. You know, usually you might see the Terran float his buildings in preparation for that, but no, the Zerg initiating it and coming out the victor, getting all the flying buildings.
And in this game, Michael, we can see the Zerg player going for a very early roach attack, trying to get a piece of that desperately needed meat to feed her children. But will she be able to catch the elusive Terran in time for the winter to come?
We see the very fast Hellions just making their way across the map. As fast as they are, they're going to see a slow roach coming across and getting a quick attack off. Now the jig is up, and NYK has to return with all of his Hellions to try and roast the Zerglings that have been hiding all this time, waiting for its prey.
These roaches coming across the map are looking a little sad now that the Hellions have seen them come. There's not really anything for Dolan to defend against these, but I think he just has enough Hellions to kill the roaches straight up, at least if they fight in small chunks. This is looking pretty good for Dolan so far, and as soon as his battlecruiser comes out, it should be okay. But these Zerglings are battering down this supply depot. He's going to need to repair it, and it looks like he's going to pull SCVs off the line to do so. This command center in the wall is going to be able to hold for a while now, and I think the timing for these roaches is really going to an end soon.
Yeah, once the battlecruiser's out, this timing is going to end, and Dolan doing an excellent job of keeping all of his Hellions alive. There are a ton of units outside. This is very scary. If he can break this supply depot wall down or kill this command center, then that might be an opening. But oh my goodness, the battlecruiser, the mass repair finishes in time, and now the battlecruiser is going to be able to take out all of these roaches, and this is looking very bad for Spencer.
Yeah, the wall is open finally, and the Zerglings are going to be able to go in and try and start engaging these SCVs in the main base. We'll have to see how many SCVs go down. Looks like it's going to be an SCV pull with the Hellions to protect. All the roaches have gone down now, and now there are 2 factories finishing up. There's a battle cruiser, and most of the SCVs are still alive. So Dolan with a very convincing hold.
Very convincing. Only 6 SCVs going down, and now even though NYK has the worker advantage, his tech is very delayed. There are battle cruisers on his side of the map now before the spore crawlers are finished. That worker lead that he has is not going to last, as Hellions are coming across the map. A battle cruiser is going to attack in the main base, and there's not really a whole lot to defend this.
Yeah, there's not even a queen in position yet, and with these focus fire off these drones, he's already gotten quite a few. Dolan now with the 41 workers to only 43 of the opponent. Obviously, he's got the extra ones, but he's got those mules, and Servant does not have enough to deflect this just yet. It looks like the queens are going to join up and chase this away, but this time he is going to save this battle cruiser with the value gotten from it. He's even going to get an extra overlord as well, so nice control from Dolan. He's going to use that to continue harassing. Really nice to get that edge.
Yeah, and you know what? I thought a lot more damage was going to happen, but very good queen placement, deflects the Hellions, and yeah, the battlecruiser is going to do some more damage, get another overlord here, but I think Spencer is getting to transition down. He's doing a very good job. Nice Evo chamber block here, stopping these Hellions from killing any more drones. So I think NYK stabilizes here.
Yeah, I think he's going to be happy with how that went. It was looking pretty dangerous for him, but with those roaches made early, he's going to be able to really defend against those Hellions without too many issues. Obviously, just leaving a few roaches in that mineral line with the Evo chamber block makes all the difference. So finally, something's going his way, and now Dolan's trying to take a 3rd base, and I think he should be safe to do so, but NYK is making a lot of Zerglings and Ravagers, so this might be another very scary attack.
Yeah, you're going to see probably a Baneling nest come down as well, and a lot of Banelings. This is a kind of a, I don't want to say it's a staple in Spencer's builds, but he really likes to stay on Roach Ling Baneling or Roach Ravager Ling Bane. And look at this, Queens joining the fight, it looks like.
Yeah, he is getting that Nidus Worm, which I think he's just going to use to reinforce, but he could potentially go for one in the main base of Dolan. He does have an Overlord in a really nice position in that airspace, so he could be able to pull him apart here, especially with these queens joining the pressure on these battle cruisers in the middle of the map. He's going to try and pressure this 3rd base from NYK, and he's got a big Zergling counterattack going, well, it's not a counterattack, but he's got a big Zergling flank going in potentially to pressure that natural, and now everything is being pulled to defend this 3rd base. These Zerglings might have an opening. A lot of bios coming down on these battle cruisers. With that dodge, it's not going to really be too effective, but with the amount of damage these queens have, this is looking very dangerous.
This is an excellent multi-prong. This is very scary for Dolan to defend. While Queens and Ravager are attacking the front, you have Lings attacking the natural base. You also have Nidus Worms going down in the main. So now you have units all over the place for NYK. Just Zerglings, Roaches, Queens all over the map, and a great defense from Dolan. He's able to hold.
Beautiful from Dolan. I was thinking that was going to be a victory for NYK for sure, but I think he might have been stretching himself a little too thin, and Dolan with the tanks, with the power of those battle cruisers, just too much.
That's right. I'm going to ask the players to take a quick 5-minute break as I need to use the restroom, and we didn't take a break after the winners match.
Sounds good, buddy. I'll see you in 5 minutes.
All right, guys, we'll be back in 5 minutes with game number 3, which will be on Ice and Chrome. Here is some trivia for you guys. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to StarCraft Trivia with Necro. The category is maps. Every map pool has that one rush map, where the rush distance between bases is super short. Which map has the shortest rush distance from Natural Town Hall to Natural Town Hall? Note, a natural has to have the blue mineral fields. Is it A, Dasan Station, B, Redshift, C. Steps of War, or D. Olrena? The answer is C, Steps of War. Steps of War has been a meme within the Blizzard maps, known for being absurdly small. Dasan Station here has the shortest main-to-main rush distance, but not natural to natural, having a 43-second rush distance there. Redshift has a rush distance of 32 seconds from natural to natural. Close second though, Olrena has a rush distance of 20 seconds from natural to natural, and Steps of War has a rush distance of 19 seconds from natural to natural. The rush distance is calculated through the movement speed of a worker, which FYI is a speed of 3.94 for every race, obviously. Hashtag Dreampool was a short 2-month season in 2014 where Blizzard brought back classic favorite maps from Wings of Liberty in Heart of the Swarm, voted on by the public. Which map was not part of this hashtag Dreampool? Was it A. Lost Temple, B. Metalopolis, C. Shakura's Plateau, or D. Xel'Naga Caverns? The answer is A, Lost Temple. Lost Temple was not in the StarCraft Dreampool. So the map pool consisted of Cloud Kingdom, Metalopolis, Daybreak, Ohana, Shakura's Plateau, Akalon Waste, and Xel'Naga Caverns. And let me tell you right now, bringing back maps from Wings of Liberty, even if they were classics, that season was an absolute train wreck. And final question of the segment, I think it's so important to know your map makers and appreciate the artistic and balance work that they put in to create these maps, which are works of art in my opinion. Ephemeron, World of Sleepers, Blue Shift, Simulacrum, and Catalyst. Who made these maps? Is it A, Avex, B, -0, C, Superuman, or D, Maras? The answer is -0. So he was known for Ephemeron, World of Sleepers, Blue Shift, Simulacrum, and Catalyst. Avex was known for Year Zero, Blackpink, Backwater, and Odyssey. Superuman was famous for Cloud Kingdom, Eternal Empire, Golden Wall, Purity and Industry, Zen, and Turbo Cruise 84. And Maras was famous for Death Aura, Disco Bloodbath, Everdream, Nightshade, and Winter's Gate. There are of course so many more map makers out there. My personal favorite is the Music 246, having made Ice and Chrome, Triton, 16-bit, 2000 Atmosphere, and Oxide. Oxide is legit the best looking map I've ever seen, and the layout is so fantastic. Unfortunately, never made it to the ladder, but it's a personal favorite.
Alright guys, we are back. Really needed that quick break. Think we're back. Are we alive, Dan?
I am here, Michael.
There we go. Okay. Just saw that you were eating dinner.
Yeah, just scarfing down some piping hot Chinese food.
Awesome. I appreciate you accommodating the time to be here, considering the difference in our schedules, you being in England and me being in Canada. It's really awesome to have you here.
Yeah, but the great thing is that since you start so early, this is actually not too bad at all. Yeah, I'd actually probably prefer this than doing it first thing in the morning for me, so it works out really nice.
Awesome. Just gonna make sure the players are ready. And we'll hop into game number 3. of the losers match. We're almost done today. It feels like today has gone by a lot quicker than yesterday.
Yeah, it's been a little bit quicker games, maybe a little bit more all-ins, a little bit more early game ending, and also a lot of less breaks as well because the players are not AFK.
That's true. Yes, we have not had a hiccup yet with players being AFK, so that is awesome. No panics today. All right, players are ready. We're gonna hop into game number 3. It's on Ice and Chrome. I think we're gonna see another mech game.
Yeah, it's a good mech map, is it?
Well, I don't know if it's a good mech map, but Dolan seems to favor mech in this matchup.
Right, okay. He's good at it. I mean, that was looking very scary. If he can just do this, to be honest, the same thing again, and then maybe play a little bit more careful with the base race in his mind, he should be okay.
I think you are right. But you never know what Spencer or NYK might have up his sleeve. All right. Here he is in the bottom left-hand corner of Ice and Chrome. Tie series 1-1. Winner moves on. Loser goes home. It is Cosmos Esports' NYK.
And in the top right-hand corner, he's fighting for his tournament life. Give it up for Dolan.
Oh, baby.
We need an applause button on stream.
That's in the works.
In the works?
You remember doing that as a kid, or did you ever do that again? Or as a kid where like you'd be playing a sport like baseball and you'd start walking up to the plate as like a 6-year-old and be like, all right, here comes little Mike going up to the plate. He's a professional all-star. Imitating the voice by just like breathing really heavily, like or imitating all the crowd. Because I totally didn't
anyone
do
who says they
I
haven't done that is a fucking liar.
I totally didn't do that. What are you talking about? I didn't hype myself up like that. That's silly. Look how cool
I don't
this
hype
map
myself
looks.
up in the mirror every single morning when I look in it. You can do this today, Dan. Yeah.
Apparently, Fear Dragon is the one to ask about the applause button.
Yeah, so his is really cool. So his will work off of, I think if I'm remembering this correctly, it's a program that you run. It's a bot for Twitch chat that when people spam clap emotes or whatever, it will then play the sound on stream of clapping depending on how many people are clapping. So it's almost like a clap track, but it's based on emotes.
That's actually so cool. That is very cool. So like if one person was doing it and everyone else was silent, would it just be like a slow clap?
That would be great, right? If you just type slow clap, you just hear.
Yeah. Or you hear like that golf clap.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. I think we need that. I think Fear Dragon would probably hook us up with that if we wanted. He seems to be pretty forthcoming when it comes to the programs that he makes.
Yeah, did you ever see the call out bot that he made? Or the video of it? So he released a video recently. It was like it was a ranked call out bot or something. Basically where if you were trying, ooh, nice block there. He's gonna get the Reaper. Get the Reaper. Gets the Reaper. So basically what it was for Twitch chatters where if you started smack talking the streamer, whatever stream you're in, you would have to link your bio with your Twitch or with your StarCraft rank. And then if you weren't high enough ranked, or if you weren't basically better than the streamer, the bot would call you out. Be like, oh, you're only diamond, lol.
It would be all you need, and I think this would be the game changer for Twitch chat, is everyone who watches StarCraft stream, like you could make it so that it's only, like, you know how it's subscriber only chat? You could put it so that it's like linked only chat. So everyone just has their rank beside them on their main race, not their current rank and their MMR, and it just puts it as a little badge beside them in chat so that you just don't have to worry about being shit talked ever again. Because if someone who's in like Silver League, no offense to Silver Leaguers, you know I love you guys, but if you're a Silver Leaguer who chats shit in a stream and I look down at my chat and I see like, why didn't you build charge lots? I'm just gonna look at it and I'm gonna be like, you're silver. I know that. It doesn't
Streamer,
hurt.
why aren't you building ghosts?
That doesn't even hurt my feelings when it comes from a silver player, dude. But if it comes from a GM, I'm gonna be taking it seriously.
Unless that streamer or unless that GM is Jason, because he says that literally all the time.
Streamer.
Streamer make ghosts.
Streamer. Artosis, do you think it would help if you had ghosts to disable that arbiter? Do you think that would have stopped that recall into your base?
Okay,
Hashtag-
guy in chat.
Okay, guy in chat.
I love how he calls everyone guy in chat.
Yeah. Yeah, and when they were talking about like wholesome moments of like needing to apologize to your viewer, I should probably talk about the game. These Hellions are gonna go down with all these Zerglings. This is a really nice surround from NYK. Right, back to the Artosis thing. So they were talking about wholesome moments on the Pylon show where you're like apologizing to your chat, and Artosis is like, sometimes there has been time I was a little bit too harsh on that guy in chat. I felt a little bit bad, but listen, if you guys are listening right now, it's not you. it's happened like once.
Oh, that's so funny. So nice little pickup by MYK there, getting all those Hellions, eh? Nice little
Yeah, beautiful. A beautiful start. He made a lot of Zerglings, but with a little bit of an overcommitment from Dolan, does end up picking it off. So NYK finally having an economically advantageous position.
Look at that guy in chat coming through. He's telling us all about the bot that Fear Dragon has. If you get a couple of Pog Champs, it's like clapping, cheering. If you get one, I think it's just golf claps. If you get like 50 people doing it, it's like Spanish level soccer goal and air horns and stuff going on.
Wait, you mean there's a guy in chat who actually knows what he's talking about?
There is.
We want Neutrino. I salute you. You get a little GM badge. Congratulations.
Congratulations. All right, Battlecruiser getting 6 drones. Nice little pickup here from Dolan. It looks like he's going to be able to keep this one alive, not like last game. He ends up getting an Overlord too.
Yeah, nice control from Dolan so far, making sure he's getting that damage done. Look at this creep spread, though, from NYK. It's already halfway across the map, nearly to that watchtower on 2 of the 3 flanks that he's got to deal with. So nice so far. He is extending that out, and Dolan hasn't really done a whole lot to delay it. So this is going to start to spiral out of control. He's nearly got a creep highway towards that 3rd base of Dolan, which is going to make any attacks that he do there very, very scary.
This creep spread is terrifying. NYK getting so much map vision right now. It's gonna, for any push to come across, like, I know Mech doesn't really care that much about creep spread. You generally just want to push as far as you can with the tanks and Hellions, and then just kind of set up and siege bases. And because of how, the splash damage from tanks and Hellions, you're not gonna, surround isn't gonna punish you as hard as, say, if you were to just run onto creep with bio and tanks. But it's still really nice to have all that vision, to know when a push is coming, to prepare accordingly.
Oh, and also, if he does end up in another, I don't know, base race situation, just to know exactly where your opponent's units are at all times is gonna be the deciding factor, right? If you can outmaneuver your opponent, that's what a base race is all about. And the creep is going to be very annoying to deal with in that situation. So it's one of those things, one of those persistent things that the Terran just has to deal with. And Dolan not really focusing on it too much. Would love to see a scan with these battle cruisers to just start cleaning it up. But it looks like he's going to prioritize going for these queens instead. But there are so many queens there, Mike. How many queens are there? A few Yamatos are going to go off and get an Overlord and a Queen with the focus fire here. One of these battle cruisers is getting low, but it's going to teleport out in time, no problem.
Yeah, it's going to teleport back home, and that's where a nice Ling run by is happening, but I guess not really a nice Ling run by. It's going to try and get in the natural, gets cleaned up very quickly, and Dolan controlling his units very well, doesn't lose a whole lot, and NYK losing a lot of Zerglings here, but he's going for that Spire tech again. We might just see another attempt at a base trade from Spencer.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting to see. I don't see Dolan following for it. Again, a player of his caliber is going to know what to do in a base race if he's aware that's going to happen. And with that Spire coming down, it is going to be a little bit different this time because he doesn't have a huge swarm of Zerglings on the ground. He's got a lot of Roaches as his composition, which aren't the fastest things in the world. So that does mean he might have a better chance of fighting against the mech in maybe a straight up battle because the Roaches are maybe a little bit better. But again, it is going to have to come down to, is he going to base race or is he not going to base race? And I think against this composition that Dolan is going for, I mean, I don't really see a straight up fight happening for the Zerg anytime soon.
Yeah, you know what? I thought he was going to go for the base trace again with the quick Spire, but he's actually building some Corruptors and getting an Infestation Pit. So we're actually going to see more of a late game approach from NYK. He's going to go for the higher tech units, maybe going for Broodlords later on, and try to maybe play it out the way that he played the first game against Jason, where he was having Broodlords, Roaches, and Ravagers.
Yeah, and that's obviously going to be a much stronger composition against the mech. Nice little Yamatos from these battle cruisers, getting those 3 queens and getting out. I love this from Dolan, just maximizing the efficiency of those battle cruisers. They don't have as many kills as we've seen in some of the other series today, but they are getting some high value targets. They're getting those queens. However, the queens have already kind of got a lot of value. They've spread their creep far and wide. Look at the creep all the way past the halfway point on Dolan's side of the map, going all the way up that far left flank, all the way towards now the right flank. This is looking like a completely purple mess.
I am loving this creep spread. He almost has it to the sensor towers now, and soon, like, Dolan's gonna see just one little bit of red every time he advances a creep tuber into the sensor towers. So very cool to see NYK moving all of that out, and now looks like Dolan's getting ready to push out. He's got a lot of units, very similar to that first mech push we saw in game number 1, where Spencer was able to counterattack with lots of mutas. It was mostly Hellbats, tanks, and a couple of battle cruisers that Dolan moved out with.
Yeah, but this time it's a very different composition. We've got Infestors coming up with the Pathogen Glands upgrade. We've got +1 air attacks. We've got Burrow. We've got so many different tools in the Zerg's arsenal. He is looking to be a little behind on upgrades here, facing a Terran with well, actually, is he behind on upgrades? Anyway, he's not in the best possible position, but this push is coming out through the middle of the map. A few scans do start to clean up these creep tumors, but now the Zerg army is jumping right on top of all of this. These Corruptors are going to bust onto these battle cruisers.
Yeah, Corruptors getting on top of the battle cruisers, Ravagers and Baneley's getting on top of the rest of the mech, and a lot of the mech going down. It looks like Spencer is going to clean this up. He ends up clearing everything out except for the battle cruisers, which teleport away. And I mean, sure, Dolan gets rid of some of the creep tumors, but he did 0 economic damage. The push basically an utter failure now, with him being 50 army supply down, and now NYK pushing his advantage, going for the caustic spray on the command centers and putting some pressure back on the Terran side of the map.
It's only a few battle cruisers here, a few Cyclones ready to defend this. I mean, one of the battle cruisers already goes down. These Baneleys are going on top of these SCVs, trying to repair the Cyclones. There's another pack of Baneleys coming in. They are being locked onto, but they do make a few key connections there. But meanwhile, the 3rd base is going down, and Zerg has free reign to go attack the 4th.
That was a huge move from NYK, getting the Banelings on top of the SCVs, repairing, getting them on top of the Cyclones so that they could not get onto a lock-on onto the Corruptors. And now the Corruptors able to take out the battle cruisers and roam free on the map. He takes out the 3rd base, and this is looking very good for NYK.
We've got 3 command centers there, Mike. This is when Dolan wants to be moving out, taking planetaries everywhere, but he's not going to be able to do that. He's going to have to float he's going to float his other DCs that he's built in his main base out, but he's not going to be able to turn them into planetaries. And now he's got to retake his 3rd as well.
Yeah, he's got to retake his 3rd base. He's trying to float out and take more bases on the map. These Corruptors trying to make something happen. The Broodlord Spire not quite finished yet. The Greater Spire just about done. So once that finishes, it's going to be very difficult for Dolan to make something happen. Baneling's chasing down Hellions and chasing down the Cyclones, not really getting the connections they want, but a lot of pressure being applied here by NYK. He's going to take down another command center, it looks like, with these Corruptors, while most of the battle mech is retreating in the opposite direction, actually towards the reinforcements. They're going to get trapped by Roaches, Ravagers, and Zerglings. And he does kill a lot of the reinforcing units, but he's taking damage at his natural. He's losing a command center at his 5th base, and it's looking very rough for Dolan.
Yeah, NYK is a little extending far into the territory of Dolan, but he knows he's got so much army to throw away. He can throw his weight around if it means that he's going to get economic damage, and it looks like he has so far. So he's taken bases all on his side of the map, and he's being able to consistently pressure Dolan on his side of the map as well, even catching out that big group of Cyclones and Hellions. So really nice trades so far from NYK. I think he's going to be able to keep this pace up. As soon as these Broodlords are added to this army, this is going to be a whole new level of hell for Dolan to deal with.
That's right. He has to replenish all his ground forces here, and while he's replenishing ground forces, he's not really making Vikings. He's not adding units that are gonna stop these Broodlords. Again, Cyclones are okay against Broodlords, but they have to be able to get locked on, and all these ground units are not going to allow that to happen. Spencer moving forward, asserting his dominance, getting on top of getting on top of the Cyclones, getting on top of the Hellions, getting rid of the Liberators, and now Broodlord's adding to the siege. I think this is going to be it for Dolan.
Yeah, this is looking very dangerous. He's frantically trying to kite away with those Cyclones, but he may just be delaying the inevitable here. Finally, the Ravagers close the distance. They're on top of the production. A Liberator sieging up frantically, but the Broodlings are on top of these tanks, and there's nothing to challenge the Broodlords at this point.
Our Terran's life is on the line here. He might be looking at getting eliminated as NYK continues the pressure. GG. NYK advances from the losers match. Dolan is eliminated.
Wow, that was some terrifying Zerg play.
That really, you really see what the swarm looks like there. That is the style that NYK brings to the table. I think is that really swarmy feeling where you just endless waves of Zerglings and roaches, and it just never stopped once he got up to that 4-base economy, and then adding the Corruptors, adding the Broodlords, just constantly sending units onto Dolan's side of the map. Tough break for our Blue Terran.
It's really intriguing to see how NYK can win against mech with two completely different compositions in two completely different ways. Most players, I think, have one way they kind of approach the matchup, right? They'll say, okay, if he goes mech, I do this. But for NYK, he goes, well, okay, I'll do this or this, and then depending on how the game goes, I'll either win with a base race or I'll win by just killing everything in the middle of the map. So really, really nice flexible playstyle there from NYK.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him play against Creature now in our Deciders match. I don't know who to give the edge to. I know NYK does fairly well against Protoss. He's a very aggressive player against Protoss. He does that classic kind of Roach, Ravager, Ling Bane style that just kind of never ends, it seems. As the Protoss player, you keep seeing it. You know, you try to take a 3rd base or a 4th base even, and you just have wave after wave of Ravager, Ling Bane coming at you, and it's gonna be interesting to see that against Creature.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how he approaches it, because at the moment, there's a lot more builds opening up for Protoss right now. But in the previous patch, everyone was going for these Glaive Adept attacks really early as possible, and then securing their 3rd to make sure that they could do that damage to the Zerg economy. But there wasn't a lot of Sky Toss, there wasn't a lot of Oracle openings or Dark Templar drops because of that range on the Queen, because of the ability for Zergs to shut it down so easily and to actually punish it. But now that the Zerg Queen has been erased, now that you have that shield battery, it opens up to a lot more possibilities. So we're seeing more DT drops, we're seeing more Oracle play, and we're seeing more Phoenix play as well. So as long as Creature has a few different builds available for him, he should be able to surprise his opponent with something that will work.
All right, and while the players are doing their picks and bans, Jason has returned. He wasn't feeling too well after the games, was a little bit nauseous, but he is back, so I'm going to give him a ring, try and get our quick winners interview, first place advancement from this group. See if he's around.
All right, and I'll be back in just a few minutes, Mike.
Sounds good. Is this the Princess Jigglenut Jocelyn? Congratulations, man. You advanced first place in your group. How do you feel you played?
Did I? Wow.
Yeah.
That was pretty good, dude. It's
Feels pretty
almost
good.
like I'm fucking good, but I'm not at the same time. It's crazy.
I know, it's crazy. You know what? Someone told me that NYK was actually higher ranked than you on the ladder this morning, and I couldn't
I'm
believe
like
my
fucking
eyes.
5.6 now. Oh my god, I'm so bad.
So you're gonna place Rob on Sunday.
Yeet.
I'm actually just gonna cancel the rest of the tournaments and have you guys play a best of 69. How do you feel about that?
I'll just forfeit now. It's fine. No worries.
All right. Well, I'll let Rob know, and we can just end it after today. Just kidding.
Thank you so much.
Glad to have you here. Any advice you would give to any Terrans in the chat here? I know this is like a smaller Terran stream, and there's probably a few guys from your chat around. Any little words of encouragement?
Build more SUVs.
Build more SCVs. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thanks for coming by. I know you weren't feeling too well. Any shout outs or links to social media, Twitch, anything like that you want to throw in chat?
Well, I'm out of team, so thanks to nobody. Yeah, that's it. Love you. Thanks for tournament. It was fun.
All right. Thanks, man. We'll see you Sunday. Good luck.
Good luck, dude.
What a funny guy. All right, we're being invited to the game. Dan is back. Players are ready to go. And here, look at this. We got Creature and NYK PVZ.
Who do you favor in this match, Mike?
Who do I favor? I think Creature has a very solid standard play. I don't know how he's going to deal with the aggression of Zerg, though. He didn't play, I don't want to say he didn't play well, but he struggled a little bit with the aggression from Dolan. He struggled a little bit with aggression from Jason, but it's a very different matchup, right? You don't have these kind of SCV holes where you're building buildings on the other side of the map when you're playing against Zerg. Or you're not going to have bunkers and stuff being built in your face when you're playing against Zerg, right? So it's a different kind of aggression. So I don't know how Creature is going to deal with that.
Yeah, what I hope to see, Mike, this is my personal desire, is to see him execute a DT drop, snipe the third base from NYK, and then have NYK all in him, but without enough larva to support it extended, and then have him win the series 3-2.
That would be awesome.
That's what I mean. I'm sorry if that was too specific, but that's what I'm hoping for. I saw it in a dream.
You saw it in a dream? Okay, well, you know what? I saw a Creature in a dream throwing a Dark Shrine in the corner of a map, and that happened, so...
I think the important thing to remember is that you and I are both precognitive, and so anything we say should be taken as the gospel truth.
Absolutely.
Creature, I like Creature's profile picture. It's very scary.
I like it too. I think that's from the last War Chest, is it not?
I have never seen it before, but yeah.
I think it's from the last War Chest. All right, guys, here we are in the Deciders match in the top right-hand corner. One of our last Zergs in the tournament, actually. It is Cosmos Esports' NYK.
And playing the race that does not require you to be a degenerate, in the bottom left-hand corner of Everdream LE, it is Creature.
You heard it here first. Protoss is the most honorable and non-degen race around. I mean, look what this probe is doing to the Zerg natural base. It is not allowing a base to go down. It wants to have an honorable one base Zerg. And actually, oh no. Is this the Strome's going for it's the rich Vespene base. I love it.
Yeah, this is a lot less committed than taking your opponent's rich Vespene, which I know, you see a lot of really aggressive Zergs taking the one on the other opponent side of the map, getting that gas up nice and early, and then using it to do a really aggressive Ravager all in. Obviously, that potential is here as well, but the reinforcements being a little bit more delayed is going to make this version a little bit less all-in, a little bit less strong on the all-in, but at the same time, I think this is just a nice third base to take in general. Why wouldn't you take the fast gas, guys?
Yeah, I love it. Like you said, it's not going to be as aggressive being on his side of the map. He's not taking his opponent's rich Vespene Geyser, which would be very all-in. But, Creature sees this, and he must know that there will be some sort of aggressive timing. And he gets his expansion anyway, gets his Cybernetics core up. So we'll see how he wants to respond to this, because I'm almost positive that we're going to see a Roach Warren come down very quickly from NYK.
Yeah, and blocking this hatchery like this, it doesn't necessarily mean anything in particular, but it is quite a commitment from the Protoss to do this. You have to usually build your pylon one supply early, which means you cut a probe fairly early on. It's not the biggest of deals, but it does show of intent from Creature to throw NYK off of his normal build. And one of the things you can do with this is go for that Glaive Adept all in. It makes it a little bit easier to go for the Glaive Adept because your opponent's bases are more spread out, so it's more chances for you to abuse that immobility. But look at this already. NYK's dropping a Roach Warren off of only 2 bases, so it looks like we might be seeing, like you said, some very early Ravager aggression. And if this hits before that Adept build can kick in, assuming that's what he's doing, this is going to be a very difficult situation for Creature to play from.
This is terrifying. If I'm Creature and I already see Zerglings crossing the map, he isn't even taking the gas at that base. He's actually just sending the links straight across. He's even going to send the queens across after injecting. Creature needs to identify this and start building the Great Wall outside of his natural. He's going to need many batteries and pylons, and he's probably going to have to rebuild gateways and other buildings, because this is going to be a very committed and scary push once the roaches come across.
Yeah, so far it's good for Creature because NYK is committed to trying to kill that Stalker. He managed to keep it alive, and he's managed to put a shield battery down with a full wall, putting a pylon in that wall, dropping a Dark Shrine, giving himself some kind of room to breathe. If he can manage to survive until that Dark Shrine comes up, he should be okay, but that is a big ask if you ask me.
Yeah, you know what? I love the Dark Shrine here. There's not going to be a lair. He warps in a couple of DTs in defense, and I think he wins the game here. He just needs to hold on and he just needs to hold on until he gets that Dark Shrine up.
This Queen is poking away at this Adept in the wall, and this is going to be very, very dangerous. Almost pulls that Adept just a bit too far back. He has the overcharge available should he choose to use it. There's only one Bile coming down, but it doesn't connect with anything of any import. So now he's trying desperately to focus fire that down, but now the Zerglings make their way in. It's going to be very difficult. Creature's gonna need to get back in that wall, but the Zerglings have got in now. Does he have an overcharge? Yes, it looks like he does. He's gonna be able to survive for now, but now the Biles are coming down, and focus fire from the Queen on that battery. He does get a Zealot in the wall to block this off, and it looks like he's killed all of the Zerglings, and now he's stabilized. There's no Zerglings left to reinforce this. This is looking like it's gonna be a hold.
It looks like a hold, and I can't believe how well that battery did with how little energy it had. I could have sworn the energy had run out with that battery, but it just keeps regenerating. And now the DT is here. It's going to be able to keep picking off units. There's no detection here, and GG is called. And Creature takes game number 1 in the Deciders match.
I knew there would be DTs, so I'm going to call that a hit.
Are you sensing maybe a stylistic approach to every matchup from Creature? Maybe he,
you know what,
has
I don't know. I want to ask him if he wins. I want you to ask him because you're going to do the interview, but I want you to ask him if he was planning on doing the DT build in that game, or if he did it reactively as a way to stabilize against the aggression. Because that is a big Chad call right there, to go, right, I'm going to build something that takes 2 minutes, and I'm going to hold for 2 minutes with just 4 gateway units. Like, that's insanity.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I loved seeing it. What a great call to think on your feet, whether or not it was planned, but to have the cognizance to realize, hey, my opponent's attacking me. He's gonna be very all in with Roach Ravager or with Ravager Zergling. I just get like 2 DTs. He's not going to go lair. He's not going to commit that much gas and that much time to getting an Overseer out. So it's just very smart and very well played from Creature.
When he let the Zerglings come in his base and then battery overcharged, I got nerd chills, because I thought it was a mistake, but then I think actually he might have done it on purpose, because that forced him to segment the army, because the Ravagers couldn't get in, so he was able to fight half the army, clean up those Lings, and then he was able to kill everything else. Really, really nice play from Creature.
Yeah, almost like just a sick bait from Creature, allowing him in. Like, yeah, sure, you can come in to this battery that's overcharged, and it looked, like I said, it looked like it had no energy, but it just kept on recharging those units as shields.
Well, when you overcharge it doesn't cost energy anymore.
Oh, it doesn't cost energy?
When you overcharge it. So it's for the duration of overcharge, it doesn't cost energy, and it heals a lot more.
That's actually insane. I had no idea about the energy part of that ability. Now I think it's overpowered. Get rid of it. Get rid of this ability. All right, here we go. He's fighting for his tournament life. He needs to win this game. In the bottom left-hand corner of Ice and Chrome, it is Cosmos Esports' NYK.
And his opponent in the top right-hand corner, playing the blue Protoss, he is showing us textbook how to hold Zerg aggression. He is Creature.
And a quick shout out to our observer, TKCT Necro. He has been unbelievable this tournament so far. He's been a great observer for us. And look at that, I even got the letters right. I was gonna call him TCKT Necro, but he is just doing a great job here for us, observing and coming up with awesome content to play in between matches during breaks. So lots of love towards him. I think he has a podcast, so might be on that later on in the week. I think it might be on Monday or Tuesday, so stay tuned to hear more about that. But thanks again to Necro for putting the time into doing this.
Yeah, such an absolute legend. It's so much better. This is the first time that I've really been able to commentate a tournament since I've started casting with a dedicated observer. I've been at maybe 1 or 2 lands, but it's so much different because normally I cast and I just have to observe everything myself, and I'm so bad at it. I just focus on all the wrong things, and people are like, why are you focusing on this? You missed the harassment. So it's so much better to just be able to focus on chatting shit about the game rather than having to move my mouse around.
Exactly, and you know, it's so smooth too. Like, I know when I'm solo casting and I'm doing my own observing on stream, everything's so kind of jerky because I don't adjust my camera settings. I don't change any of that stuff. I don't look at the finer details of observing. So it's really awesome to have that dedicated observer here for us today. And look at this pool finishing up. I think was that pool first?
Yeah, so that's I don't think that's too early. I mean, he's gonna have Zerglings out crossing the map before there is an Adept, so it's going to be not too early. He's still going to be able to chrono an Adept out here to defend against these Lings, so it's not going to be too scary for him, but there is still the potential. There's always the potential for Zergs to go in with their Zerglings if they choose to, but looks like NYK is just going to be looking for that probe. He does catch it. Now he's going to be forced back to the main base, but he should be able to escape no problem while NYK takes a third.
Yeah, third hatch goes down, and Necro letting us know it was indeed hatch first, so playing a very economic opening so far from NYK, and now Future is going to respond. He's got his Twilight Council finishing. We'll see if he's going to go for that Glaive Adept attack or maybe something cheeky like a DT drop.
Yeah, he didn't go for the hatch block in this particular game, so it makes me think that it's less likely to be that. I'll have to see if he starts Glaives or if he drops a Dark Shrine when he has 150 minerals. He does have enough now. He's dropping a Gateway, and it's nothing so far, so it looks like he's just maybe waiting until he has the opportunity. It looks like it is going to be Glaives now. Now that he's shooed the Overlord away, he's going to start the Glaives, but there's another Overlord coming in from NYK. Very cheeky. He's going to be able to pop in and see that this is happening. So he's going to be able to confirm exactly what it is. This is a very, very scary build, but as long as NYK scouts it, he should be in a good position to defend it.
Yeah, he is going to see everything that is happening here with that Overlord. He's going to see that it is researching at the Twilight Council. And now what is
the
response?
Unfortunately, he's going to lose the Overlord for his efforts, which is going to make everything a little bit harder. It's going to make him overall a little bit weaker, but it's more than worth it to know exactly what your opponent is doing. It's too late now for him to cancel it and do any kind of shenanigans, but he is also going to add a Dark Shrine. So now that he's got the full scout off, we're going to see a Dark Shrine go down again. I love this from Creature, just waiting. He's still letting the Glaives finish, but he's going to have a DT follow-up in case NYK skips out on detection.
This is so cheeky. I love it. He's going for the Glaive. So I've seen Zest do this specifically because I think he was the one popularizing the Adept build over in Korea. So now he's doing the Adept build, but he's not going to commit to Adepts. Instead, he's going to show enough Adepts to make it look like a huge Adept attack with the Glaives, but then he's going to warp in 2 to 3 Dark Templar and send them to each base. I love it.
Yeah, and there is a Spine Crawler at the third base for NYK, but there's no Spore, and he doesn't have really any detection to speak of right now. So these are enough Adepts that you actually have to be a little bit respectful of them here, but it's not enough that he's not going to be able to commit on them. So he is going to be shading into the natural here, forcing the units back. There's no drones at the third base for him to kill. There is a Spine there as well, but there's no detection still. Now the Dark Shrine is finishing up. The Spine is trying to reposition, but with these Adepts posturing here, I doubt that detection is on NYK's mind at this current moment.
That's exactly it. This is being very well done by Creature. Again, showing enough Adepts so that it looks like a committed Adept all in, but now warping in the DT. This is where it becomes very scary. 4 DTs warped in and loaded into the Warp Prism. They're going to go into the main base where the layer is just now finishing. So detection can be brought up very soon, but these DTs are going to be able to attack. And look at that. Spencer having the Queens ready, but these DTs are going to do so much damage to the Queens.
Yeah, they could potentially focus fire the lair, but there's already an Overseer
morphing right now, so that will get NYK out of the woods in terms of having a source of detection, but that is a far cry from having detection in all the places that you would ideally like to have it. And these DTs are going to be right on top of this layer, but it's going to be cleaned up eventually because the Overseers are there with the Queens, but he's going to be able to lose only 2 of them while getting 2 out. So not the best situation for Creature. He does lose 2 of them, doesn't really get any targets of value with those TTs, but the Adepts are still going to be a problem for NYK if he doesn't defend them properly.
That's right. He is now NYK getting +1 attack. He's adding more Overlords so he can get up in supply for maybe a big Roach attack. And a third base going down for Creature. I think that was played really well on both ends, as you know, Creature doing a little bit of damage, getting some Adepts, or getting some drones, I should say, and for the DTs. He does lose 2 of them, so he can't do a double Archon drop with all the, he had to warp in a couple extra DTs to do that. But I think things are looking good for NYK.
Yeah, I think that was about as good as you could have expected based on the shenanigans that was being pulled from his opponent. But look at this. These Adepts are engaging only 2 Roaches, so gonna get a few kills on them without really losing much of anything. NYK maybe a little bit distracted right now. He needs to be thinking about taking his 4th base, but he's not really in a position to do it right now, given the amount of harassment that is potential for Creature to give on him. So this Warp Prism's looking in to get a weak spot. There is a weak Queen here, and another one. He's going to be able to get at least one of them and then zip right back out. So nice damage so far from Creature.
Yeah, and he actually picks off the other weak Queen. So now this Warp Prism able to reign supreme and keep doing damage.
Yeah, and without those spores in position, a lot of time if you scout the DT shrine early on, you have spores everywhere. It's a lot harder, but now the Adepts have committed all the way into the 3rd base. The Archons join up with them, and he's actually able to take a fight against this, but there's so many Roaches. He's going to recall the majority of those Adepts and just try and hold on back at home.
Yeah, he gets some of the Adepts out, and he still has the Warp Prism, which is good, but I feel like he may have lost too many Adepts there. If Spencer decides he wants to just attack, this could be a scary attack with a lot of Roaches out on the field.
He has to keep these Archons alive in this Warp Prism. This is the only thing that's keeping NYK on his side of the map with this massive force of Roaches. Nearly double the army supply of Roaches is moving across the map to the 3rd base of Creature. He is going to be pulling his Archons back to the Watchtower. Might go back in to get some more harassment, but he's got a big problem at his 3rd base. Doesn't even have a shield battery. Well, actually does have a single shield battery in position. We'll be able to overcharge that to help out a little bit, but this is still a very scary army with Ravagers being added to it as well. He's going to be pulling out all the stops to defend this.
This is awesome control from Creature. He's able to do a lot of damage to these Roaches, and on the other side of it, NYK morphing the weak ones into Ravagers and keeping as many units alive, and he has a huge push coming. This is going to be a very tough hold. There we go. Some nice force fields coming down.
Yeah, with a shelled overcharge, Zealots being warped in, trying to engage. A little bit of kiting from the Roaches is going to do a little bit of damage here. The Archons come out of the Warp Prism and join. Looks like it's going to be deflected for now, but the Zerglings are jumping in. Maybe go in for a round 2.
Yeah, he's coming in. He's trying to engage by these destructible Warhawks, but with sentries of Mortals and Archons, I don't think NYK can really win this fight here. He's kind of fighting into a bad choke here.
He does force the issue, does get force fielded off with a little bit, but the Biles are going to break the force fields, does get a few Biles back onto the majority of Creature's army, but there's so many units. Now with the Zealot Warpin, I think he's going to be able to stabilize.
Yeah, you know what? The charge finishing up, and now these Zealots are chasing away the Ravagers while the big power units in the back are reinforcing. Immortals doing tons of damage to these Roaches, and all the Ravagers are getting cleaned up, and now NYK having to retreat. His tournament life on the line here. He's going to have to reinforce at home and hope. Never mind. That's good unit, he says. GG.
GG.
Well played. We have our second player to advance. Group C is complete, guys. We're going to try and bring Creature in for a quick interview. What did you want me to ask him again about the DT Shrine, if that was part of the plan?
I wanted you to ask him if he was going to build the DT Shrine in the game 1 before he knew that it was going to be an all-in, or if he did it as a way to defend the all-in.
Okay, we'll make sure to ask him that. I'll try and get him in the call now.
All right,
Hey, Creature, how's it going?
Hello. Going all right?
All right, so you're finishing second place in your group. How do you feel you played?
I had to get up kind of early for this. I'm not used to waking up early, so I felt I played a bit sloppy, but I'm happy that I was able to make it out of the group.
Well, I definitely appreciate you waking up and fitting us into your schedule here. It's definitely a busy time of the year with all the DreamHack qualifiers happening. Did have a couple
Oh, yeah, for
questions
sure.
for you, though. So in that first game, it was really awesome to see you build the Dark Shrine and defend with DTs that big all-in, or I guess that big push that NYK was sending across with the Ravager Lane Queen. Did you plan to do that or as a defense, or was that
Yeah.
kind of the game plan from the get-go? You wanted to go DTs early.
Yeah, actually it was the plan from the get-go to go DTs, but DTs are also like a really good counter to that build. I've actually played against that build a lot on that map because I run into Cats in the ladder a lot. And he'll
Okay.
do the same exact Roach Ravager all in, and with the battery overcharge, it's much easier to defend now. Actually, pre-patch, I might have died to that push, but I think even though I messed up the force field, the battery overcharge was able to save me. So
It
Yeah,
was a
pretty good.
mistake. So we were thinking that it was like a really cool bait with the overcharge because he activated the overcharge right after the force field and let a bunch of the lings in. So we're thinking, oh yeah, maybe he's actually baiting him in with half the units, and then the Ravagers couldn't get in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was actually a mistake. Pre-patch, that's a mistake, but in this patch, it's actually a bait. So there you go.
in this patch, you look very, very smart. And you know what? I really liked your play in the first series as well against Stolen. And I was so happy to see you throw a Dark Shrine in the corner, because in the beginning of that match, I was like, oh, you know what would be really cool? If he countered Dolan's tank push that he did in the second game by throwing a Dark Shrine up in the corner and just throwing a wrench into it. I think it was the third game you did it, actually. And
Yeah.
then he ended up doing it. It was really awesome. So really cool to see. Do you have any shout outs or any links to social media, Twitch, you want to throw in chat?
Yeah, you can follow my stream, twitch.tv/CreatureSE2. I haven't been streaming much recently because of all the qualifiers and stuff going on. But once the qualifier is over, I'll start to stream more again.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for being here today, and good luck to you on Sunday. Who do you face on Sunday? You're going to be playing against Vindicta. How do you feel about playing him?
It'll be definitely tough. Vindicta is insanely good right now. He's gotten really, really good over the last year. He's been practicing a ton. It's not going to be impossible for me. I think I can definitely give him a good series, but I'll have to pull out my best builds against Vindicta for sure in order to win.
Awesome. I really look forward to it. It's going to be a best of 5, so it's all it's the big boy games from now on.
Oh boy, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, take care, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
There we go. Answer your question, Dan.
I kind of figured as much. Like, basically, what I take away from that is that he doesn't not do the Dark Shrine because of the all-in. So, like, if you were going for the Dark Shrine, and then if he all-ins, you're not like, oh, I don't need the Dark Shrine anymore, I'll just save the money. It's like, no, you still get the Dark Shrine because actually it's good against that all-in. So that helps me a lot because I do that build almost exclusively against Zergs.
Yeah, it was really, really neat. Yeah, like that was the plan from the get-go, but he had just kind of adjusted it to be able to hold that.
Yeah, really, really nice hold from him. I'm going to be going over those replays. I called the first replay how to hold Zerg cheese.
How to hold Zerg cheese. Awesome. All right, we're looking for someone to host here. Now that we're at the end of the day, Group D will be tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. And that is a big one. I'm going to bring up the bracket, actually. We're going to switch scenes and do that. So we switch over to the bracket with the groups Jason and Creature advancing first and second place respectively. So we have Vindicta versus, that has been updated, I believe. Vindicta versus Creature, Jason versus Rob. The Group D will decide who faces Silky and who faces Disc. This is a nice even quarterfinal bracket, I think, that we have set up so far.
Yeah, this is going to be a really hype. I can't wait to see the games tomorrow. Really rooting for Nina. Absolutely love her. Love watching her play. Looking for. I wish I could cast her, to be honest, but obviously not going to be possible tomorrow, but I'm looking for. I really hope she makes it out of that group.
Yeah, I can't see, honestly, I can't see her or Future not making it out, but stranger things have happened. You never know. Caleb and Patty Mac, no jokes themselves. They can put up some really good games, and I imagine they face each other quite a bit on the ladder, as both Caleb and Patty are both up above the 6K range along with Nina. So maybe Nina having a little bit more experience in a tournament setting, but both these other players having the opportunity to perhaps take her down.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how it turns out.
All right, we're gonna host up Steadfast. I think he is doing EU qualifiers for DreamHack Masters, so we'll send it over there. I'll make sure not to do it too early though, because apparently we got cut off the last 2 days.
Yeah, so we'll go idle for 2 minutes and then we'll raid him.
Yeah, so hang out for 2 more minutes, guys, and then we'll be raiding Steadfast, who may be helping out with casting tomorrow. I still have to talk to him about that, but he's casting Stefano versus Lily Cannon right now, so that's pretty awesome. That'll be a fun match to watch. TVZ.
Yeah, that will be good. I will probably be going to sleep, to be honest, but yeah, enjoy that.
Fair. It is much later for you.
I mean, it's only 7:30. I'm just an old man.
You know what? I went to bed at 8 o'clock last night, so I feel that. But then I was up at 5 today.
Yeah, you're on like a night shift as well, though, aren't you? So you have excuses. I have no such reason.
I am, yes, but like I'm trying to get back to the day shift schedule for sure.
Ah.
All right, Dan. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you on Sunday.
All right,
Championship
sounds
Sunday,
good,
buddy.
Mike. Thank you again for having me, and I'll see you on Sunday, buddy.
All right, take care, everyone. Go show Steadfast some love. He's a great caster, and he's been doing a lot of the DreamHack stuff. And we'll see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. for Group D. Nina, Future, Patty Mac, and Caleb Aracious.
All right, there we go. I think the raid has started, so it should be good.
Yeah, it went off before I did anything. Like, I didn't even click to do the raid.
What? There are
Oh,
no
it just-
queens in the main
it just
base
went
to
on its
deal
own.
with this PC.
Should be a
It's
little
gonna pick off
smoother
quite a
this
few
time.
drones here.
Some dead times.
Meanwhile,
should be good.
this
Yeah.
scouting barracks just kind of floating around the middle of the map.
Oh, it's good. All good, Mike.
Stefano trying to get a little bit done
Yeah,
with
man.
their base,
Thanks
but not
again.
find any purchase
All
for
3
what?
days, killing
Wow,
it,
that is
dude.
so many workers getting taken
Oh,
out.
dude,
10 workers
it's
over
fun. It is fun. I'm glad I spent the last week casting because I got a little bit more
Oh, that's
practice,
such
I
a
guess.
gross looking ball. I hate it.
The hardest
Oh,
part
God.
is
Should
I'm
just
so
don't be able to
hungry,
supply people
and
with
it's like in the middle of my dinner. So my wife's been making me dinner, and then I've been getting it in the breaks and trying to scarf it down between games. But it's it's tough. It's tough sometimes.
Yeah. Each day so far, I've made like a big breakfast right before starting the stream up, so that's been all right.
That's the other way around it. I mean, yeah. It's not too bad. Like I'm fine. I eat a lot anyway, so I could stand to burn off some calories, I'm sure. Oh man, great games today though, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was really good. It was nice to see more than just a bunch of 2-0s, and the games weren't all super long, so like the day didn't end after like 5 hours. Instead it was...
I'm really glad that Jason and Creature both made it out, because otherwise I would have felt bad if my pause led to somebody being DQ'd. Like I knew that
yeah.
it wasn't gonna be a big deal. Like my heart was like, okay, this should not be that big of a deal. Like if you're playing and like in the middle of the game there's a random pause and then a cancel, if you use that as an excuse, like you're full of shit, right?
Absolutely. You still don't want to see that happen though, right? You don't want to...
No, yeah. Like I would understand being tilted from it, especially. I don't know.
Yeah. especially like facing an SCV pole, and it was like right in the middle of the SCV pole. Well, not in the middle, but like as it was moving across the map. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
I get if either one of them would have been upset, but at the same time, I'm really glad that that wasn't the case.
Yeah, I don't even know. It's like a weird thing. I actually don't know what happened. It's so strange. Like my hand just did it. Like it was like complete autopilot, dude. Like a demon took over my hand. I don't
Hit the pause button and nothing. Yeah, there's so many keys. Oh well, it happens. Accidents happen. It's literally of
I
all
have
the
a 10 keyless keyboard, so it's like it's the rightmost button on my keyboard. I think
Yeah.
that might be the problem. It's like right beside my mouse, so maybe I just like I don't know. It was close or something. But either way, it wasn't a big deal. So anyway, thanks for having me, dude. It was great.
Yeah, man. Enjoy the wife's birthday and everything tomorrow.
Will do, and I'll try and catch as much of the games as possible, and hopefully you don't have any issues, man.
Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. I think today went really well.
Yeah, today was the smoothest day by far. Well, I mean, we had the pause incident, but other than that, everything was really
That's
smooth.
literally like the most minuscule thing compared to everything else that happened in the first 2
Yeah,
days, right? So that's
People
that's
not being
nothing.
there for a whole game compared
Yeah.
to a pause. It's like, okay.
Exactly. People not being there, me fucking up with the microphones, me fucking up with the overlay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's worse than, you know, a half a second pause by mistake.
I think we're hitting our stride now, man. I think we're getting there. We're getting some more. It's more relaxed a little bit. It's feeling good. The more of this we can do, the better, man. I really enjoy it.
I agree. I think it's getting a lot more smooth.
I think our jokes are landing too, so you know that's a plus.
Definitely. You're definitely carrying that, so I'm just trying to piggyback a little bit.
Oh, dude, I think we're both. It's pretty balanced. Anyway, I will see you on Sunday, amigo.
Yeah, see you Sunday, buddy.
God, that is
See you later.
StarCraft is such a funny game. Third Evo chamber does start up, and well, actually, I guess these are to charge up these Vipers, and he is gonna just take advantage of the fact that he has this extra one. He's gonna get +1 melee, realizing that Ultras, Lings, Banes, Brood Lord, Broodlings could become a factor in this game, and so you want to have the ability to go into those. Blue Lurkers are going to find some of these Hellions. Gonna, with the Hydra support, be able to take out quite a few of them. Now, Lilykanin is really buttoned down tight on 4 bases. He is not going to be able to get breached, but Stefano, he is on a ridiculous base count right now, and Lilykanin is going to need to find a way to take another base. It's not enough that he just does these Hellion run-bys. Now, that being said, he will find a decent little bit of purchase here. Oh no, he's actually going to ignore this base, and that will allow Stefano time to get into in position with his units. Meanwhile, VCs, one of them does get picked off, the other one does manage to blink away here. And units lost is favoring Stefano by a decent amount, but it's not mission critical yet. 3-3 does, well, I guess +3 attack started a while ago. +3 armor starts up for the Terran player now. And Stefano, the creep spread is absolutely ridiculous right now. Like, it is really, really getting out of hand for Lilykanin. It is actually starting to approach his 4th base. And Lilykanin needs to find a way to slow this down. Stefano's bank is just starting to build up and really get to be quite significant at this point. And this is going to be a very long war of attrition here. Oh, we are going to see an abduct on a Viking, and he will be able to take that. No, he's not going to actually get the finishing blow. It was 1 shot away from going down. And Stefano choosing instead to keep his Viking alive. I do like that he's got the Overseers with those. It means target firing down is going to be so much more difficult. Meanwhile, Hydra's going to temporarily deny this base for just a moment. But, well, things just get really, really hectic at this point in the game. We have double Spire starting up for Stefano, realizing that the potential of an air switch could be very potent. And Nice Abduct will grab a 4 right here. And Lilykanin just going to scan and keep tabs on Stefano's army. But Stefano, he would really like to get some picks on this 5th base as Lilykanin tries to secure it. Turrets will finish up, but well, a Liberator, a couple of Liberators.
Will Smith, Will Smith, Will Smith.
They do trade out some Vipers.
Will Smith Will Smith. Will Smith.
Will Smith. Smith. No, Will Smith. Will Smith. Will Smith.
God damn it. Oh shit.
Fucking awesome. I think today's my favorite day of games. We got to see the Dolan build.
Oh
Unfortunately-
man, I was so excited to see the Dolan build.
Yeah, that was sick. But yeah, so on Team Liquid, you see where it says talk? On the Team Liquid Wikipedia, on the top, like on the Misery Cup, at the very top, like the bar, there's page, talk, edit, history, blah, blah, blah.
Looking. Oh yes.
So see, there's the third button that's like a circle.
Yeah.
And if you hover over, it says
View
view this
page with
page with
pending
pending
changes.
changes.
Ah, okay.
So this will have all the changes that I have. So if you go in there, you can actually see everything that I've put in. It just like takes some time for them to update it. So
Gotcha.
so when you do tomorrow and you want to see the updated bracket, just make sure you click that because everything was
Oh,
in there.
did you add the race distribution and the map statistics too?
No, it does it automatically.
Oh, fucking sick! Because I never saw that before, and now that's
No,
added.
So what it does is the playoffs and the group stages I have to manually edit, but once that information is in there, it will populate that race distribution chart all on its own.
Oh, that's so sick! It's even showing like the map statistics too. I love it.
Yeah, because I've been filling out all the maps too. Like if you click on each, so if you go to today's thing and you hit show maps, it'll actually show you like which person won each one. And it gets tracked on a Ligulac, or it will get if this tournament gets put on a Ligulac, which I hope it should.
Yeah.
It will. I will also do that. Yeah, so you can see all the map statistics and stuff on the page. Because I haven't been editing that, but like, oh, maybe someone else has been editing it, but I haven't been doing it. Maybe someone else has been adding it.
And units lost, still favoring Stefano. If anything, a little bit more than before.
Maybe. I love it though. This is really cool.
Oh no, it's pulling the changes from me. No one else has been editing it. It's just doing it on its own.
Okay. Okay.
That's pretty neat.
Oh wow.
The bracket. This bracket's gonna be a TVP slugfest.
It is Vindicta Creature, Jason Robb, and then
It's
whoever-
probably gonna be Future Disc or Future Silky.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm fucking pumped, man. This is going so well. I was telling Lunar, it's been so much fun being a part again every day. Oh, I want to throw something at you, sort of. So I was thinking that because the so we were all thinking about hanging out right during like DreamHack or something, but because we're missing it this year, it might not be until next September that we get another DreamHack to do this.
Yep.
So I want to make a short list of like me, you, Rob, Wes, Lunar, Spencer, and we'll find like a cottage or like an Airbnb, someplace nice that's within like a decent, like a middle drive for all of us somewhere in Canada or the US. And then we like road trip at those of us who are together. So like if you flew into Toronto or Ontario or into like Southern Ontario, and then me, you, and Spencer drove south to pick up Wesley and Rob, and then we just road trip to meet up with Lunar or whoever else like the short list is. And then we just have a few people allocated to bring in their PCs. Then we all just bring our gear. So if we want to play StarCraft and ladder or play against each other, we have a couple of PCs. Then we have drinks, and it's just basically this cottage week vacation where we all just hang out and get all the fucking degeneracy
That
going.
sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that'd be really, really fun.
Yeah, that
Just
would
get all the
that
guys
would be
that
sick.
we hang out with on the regular here.
I would be very down for doing that.
Cool. And that might be like sometime next year, like early like April or May or something around that time.
That's definitely doable for me.
Okay, cool.
Considering
I'm just posing interest, but I thought about that today when I was having a shower. I was like, oh man, that'd be so much fun.
It would, yeah, definitely doable for me. Like
Cool.
I'm pretty sure the school and everything's fallen through at this point, so I'll be still doing corrections work this time next year. So
Okay. Yeah, because like the schooling stuff's all fucked with COVID, right? Like there's
Exactly.
literally nothing you can do about that.
yeah, so yeah, basically nothing I can do about that, but that's whatever. That means I can afford to do something like that instead.
Oh man, this is so much fun though.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
I'm enjoying being Mr. Liquipedia.
Mr. Liquipedia, Mr. Figure out all the coding stuff that I couldn't figure out.
Yeah. I'm getting really good at it, and I was in voice with Lunar all day today because like he understands what it's like when I'm working, like when I'm
Yeah.
programming. So like he's just being quiet and hanging out, and then we're just memeing and chatting a little bit and whatever. But it's funny because he's doing all the vetoes, so he's like having to communicate with me the maps. So when like the next series starts, I already know what all the maps are. I just have to edit it once and throw them all in.
Oh, nice.
It's crazy. We played Everdream and Ice and Chrome almost every map series today.
Yeah, that was weird too, and it was ice and chrome on the end map like every time.
Yeah, except for the last one where we didn't get to the decider game. It was just
Yeah.
2-0'd.
Was it 2-0 with
Um,
Spencer? I thought Spencer won a game. I'm wrong.
Spencer won, but he lost to Creature 2-0 because he beat Dolan.
Okay, that's right. Okay, so
Dude, Dolan punted his games. I was so sad.
did he punt them? I don't know.
Yeah, he just like had a bunch of little mech mistakes where he was controlling his army. He lost the first Reaper and he lost his Hellions every game.
The base
Like,
trade was so sick. Like Spencer's decisiveness was really sick in that game. I don't think Dolan punted that so much as that Spencer did very
Didn't realize
well.
the writing on the wall and he just fucking went for it.
Yeah, like I think he was planning it for a while because you don't go Mutiling Bane against mech unless you're trying to plan something like that, I think. And
Yeah.
he
and then when he got
did it
Dolan to
perfect.
commit, he just went for it.
Yeah. Like he had to leave. Dolan would have had to have left so many units back at that refinery, but then he wouldn't have been able to deny the extra bases that Spencer started taking. And then
Yeah.
it either would have ended with the way it did, or it would have ended with like Dolan trying to hold out there, but Spencer would have eventually gotten economy
Either way,
back.
it was going to be super shitty because the mutas would have dropped it into the red, and if it was on fire, it burns down, and if it's orange, then he can't leave because the Lings will come in and kill it.
Exactly.
Like I think Dolan was just kind of screwed. The only thing he could have done was like save a bunch of SCVs and just build refineries across the whole map because he had so much money. He just lost his workers. He just couldn't build any.
Yeah, Spencer took out every SCV and he got them
he
early too.
Yeah, if he had just taken a few of them off of the refinery on that left base and just kept them with his army, then it's much better.
Mhm.
But it is what it is. It was good. I was not expecting Dolan to finish last place in his group.
I wasn't expecting that either. I thought Dolan would have
Creature
finished
DT'd
second.
Everybody.
Yeah, I liked it though. Like it was like really smart how he went DTs. I don't think it was like super cheesy or like what
No,
you
it
would
was just
think when you think of
reactionary.
someone going DTs, and it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it was cool.
So much damage on those BCs, and Stefano will get forced back, but he builds 26 corruptors right here, and 3-3 is about to finish on his heir.
Mortal Kombat.
3-3 corruptors. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that sounds terrifying.
Mass
I just will never
corruptor
die.
with 3-3 against battlecruiser. Fucking rip
Man,
battlecruisers.
Our stats in this tournament are so wackadoo. Summary: Terran versus Zerg is 70% in Terran's favor.
You gotta think
5-3.
about who's playing who though, right?
Yeah, I know. And then TVP is dead even at 5 apiece, and then PVZ is 25%